I'm wearing my birthday suit, and I got a luscious blonde wig on.
Oh shit, I'm eating freaking narco berries now. I am not doing myself any favor.
Might have bit off more than I can chew here.
There's a bad one in this bunch. You guys want me to teach you about mushrooms?
I'm so close to death. I've got a broken leg.
The only way that you survive is by being smarter than some of the other people.
What the heck? What is digging holes in the ground? It's digging holes in the ground.
Fresh spawns, veteran tamers, and all survivors in between. We'd like to welcome you to Rated Ark, the Ark Survival Evolved podcast.
By the way, this is explicit.
So that last soundbite there from Esme is very appropriate to what we are talking about tonight, which is PixArk.
PixArk.
Welcome, survivors, new and old, to episode 7 of Rated Ark, the PixArk edition. Today is April 6th, 2018. We are a CRR Gaming Group hosted podcast. We have many ways you can contact us to share feedback, tips, or adventures. You can reach the show by emailing ratedark@gmail.com. You can tweet the show at ratedark on Twitter. You can grab our RSS feed, get our show notes at www.ratedark.com, and apply to join us in-game at www.crossrealmrebellion.com. And now we'd like to introduce ourselves. I am Cricket, and we got Esmeralda Sky.
Hello!
And Felloon.
Hello.
And the one and only Goon.
Did we just rubber band?
Luminin.
No. Luminin!
I was talking with my mic muted.
And
Hey, that's my thing.
my big boy Blue.
Howdy, howdy.
And Malorial.
No.
Hi there. Well,
He's just listening.
He's in the room.
he's
Okay.
listening. He's at work.
He's sitting in the
Send our
Recording
condolences to
chamber.
Malorium.com. We are doing an all PixArk episode, and to get us started, Blue is going to tell us what exactly PixArk is. Take it away, Blue.
What is PixArk? PixArk describes itself on Steam as a vast, wild world filled with vicious dinosaurs, magical creatures, and endless adventures. To survive this mysterious land, you must tame creatures both ferocious and cuddly, craft high-tech and magical tools, and build your own base out of cubes. With a robust character creator, an infinite number of voxel-based maps, and procedurally generated quests, your PixArk adventure will be completely unique. Team up with friends to form a tribe, or play on your own. Spend your time building a towering fortress, or go on a quest in sprawling cavern. Fly on the back of a dragon and smite your enemies with magic wands, or ride a mighty T-Rex and blast your foes with a rocket launcher. In the world of PixArk, how you play is up to you, as long as you survive.
Felloon is going to tell us what kind of specs we need to run this game.
Okay, what do we need for specs? Okay, the minimum requires a 64-bit processor and operating system. The operating system is Windows 7, 8, and 10. 64-bit versions. Our processor is the Intel Core i5 2400 AMD FX 8320 or better. Memory, 4 gigabytes of RAM. Graphics, NVIDIA GTX 660, 2 gigabytes, or the AMD Radeon HD 7870, 2 gigabytes or better. DirectX version 10. Network, broadband, and internet connection. The storage required on your hard drive would be 15 gigabytes of available space. Additional notes requires broadband internet connection for multiplayer.
All right. Now we're going to go into loot drop.
Shout, let it all out. These are the shout-outs we can't live without. Oh yeah, come on, yeah. Radar's talking to you, you're talking to us. Yeah, time for shout-outs.
All right. I got on Twitter today and I said, hey, if you've been playing PixArk, let us know what you think so far. So we got some feedback from Tim Barrett at #1658 said, loving it, but they could adjust the damage numbers a bit. I just hit level 50 and I still can't kill any carnivores. We feel you. We feel you. Also, we kept the conversation going back and forth for a little bit on Twitter, and he also added in that he's on a private server with some friends, and a lot of the server settings and buffs don't seem to take effect, like the XP gains, harvesting, and such. And about the only server setting that they've noticed working is the time of day, but they haven't really fiddled with too much of the dino damage yet. And then he said he chalked up all of the lack of sliders to early access, and that they do rent their server like us through Nitrado, and that they learned their lesson. They rent their servers with their friends because they learned their lesson with Ark and have only played on their own private servers ever since Scorched Earth came out. And so I think it sounds like they're right in line with our experiences. So it also wanted to share Dark on Veil at Dark on Veil on Twitter. Said, I've enjoyed it so far. I would like to see a dedicated server download on Steam, though. My biggest complaint is the movement feels horrible. Needs to be closer to Minecraft and jumping, moving ability. So I think I have heard a lot of people say stuff about the jumping. Just doesn't seem to be as smooth. So, but the game's only been out for a week.
One other thing I would just like to comment a little bit.
Go ahead.
I've not ever played Minecraft. So my experience is probably maybe a little bit unique to some. I think a lot of people in our gaming group have played Minecraft, so I'm feeling a little bit noobish in some ways. But to be able to look like straight down when you jump, like let's say you're standing on top of one block and you want to just go straight up. So if you jumped up and then planted the block right underneath your feet while you're in the air, it feels like it's hard to do. I don't know what the contrast is with Minecraft and PixArk, but I don't know if that's what he's talking about or not, but I totally think being able to look straight down, because it's like when you jump, if you're not standing way out on the edge of the cube and you try to put another block under your feet, that seems hard to do. It seems to me like it's harder to do than it should be. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, are you feeling like the targeting of the actual block is the clunky part? Or
yeah, because if you're standing right on top of the block, be able to look straight down, because you actually can't look straight down. You're looking kind of at an angle, I guess.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it would be easier. I don't know.
Are you feeling like, we should, because we can't place it right at our feet, but you're feeling like if we could jump at least as high as the block to be able to jump and then place, jump and then place, like it should be more fluid. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Because you can do it.
You can do it. It's just that I think because of the angle that you're looking, it's harder than it needs to be.
Do you think that's why they added those spring boots in too? Like, would that help with that, or does that just make it more clunky?
That's actually what I was about to say. If you use the spring boots, it's really not an issue.
Yeah, I'm using the spring boots, and I think you still got to stand on the edge of the cube, because it's like you're looking down at a 30-degree angle versus 0.
So you're feeling like it needs to be a little bit more forgiving when it comes to the parameters of where you are as a character versus where the actual block begins and ends, so that you have a little bit of a gray area to be able to exist in the same area while you're jumping up and placing it? I don't know if it's so much
that I kind of like precision, but so like, for example, the next time you get in a game, just take your character and look straight down. You're probably looking at the next block over and not the block underneath you. So being able to look like at the block underneath you, I guess is what I'm saying, would make things kind of nice.
Okay. It doesn't sound like you're the only one that feels like it's clunky, though, because I've also read on the forums where some people do feel this way as well.
As far as movement, one of my biggest complaints, if you're comparing it to Minecraft, is with Minecraft you can hold in, is it the shift key? When you're, that makes you kind of crouch down, or maybe it's the alt key, and then you can't fall off the edge of a block when you're doing that. So it allows you to inch there to the edge of a block in order to try to put blocks next to it in order to make those bridges out or back up. So it makes it a lot easier to build out over a crevasse without having to worry about falling down. And I really miss that, because it's so nice to say, I don't want to fall down this this five block drop and crater. I want to be able to just work my way through here. So I hope they put that in with like Minecraft has, but we'll see.
All
I'm
right.
super glad we tested that on like a single block drop, though.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be moving into Fresh from the Forge, where Luminan's going to share some patch notes.
Fresh from the
We
Where
have
Luminan's going to share some patch notes.
We have the link in the show notes. PixArk update 4.6, which was for us today. This is April 6th. This is version 1.7. It came out supposedly at 2 a.m. Pacific time. I did little quotey fingers there, but you couldn't see them. Dear explorers, we're working on improving the gameplay experience based on feedback from the community. We are still working on lots of fixes and will be optimizing the experience overall. Hang tight. They have added German language settings. They said they need community improvement. Made stronger scrolls summon zombies, skeletons, and plague effects. So spoiler alert, I didn't know that was a thing until just now. Thanks for spoiling that for me. Adjusted player versus player melee effectiveness. Added respawn options in the escape menu. Can now see creature level via creature scanner. The spring kite and shoes reduce fall damage now. Nice.
Oh, cool.
But what about this? I hope that means all the spring shoes.
It just says kite.
Yeah.
So it was probably
I don't know.
supposed to be all of them, and then they kind of messed up chitin, so they just fixed it maybe.
I think, you know what? I don't know. It seems like there's times when I just get off my gargoyle and take damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it don't make sense.
Well, you take damage from, I think it's like a 3-block or something fall. Like if you fall off a mount, it's like 3 blocks.
It's
so
you
dumb.
take damage.
It's not consistent because I was building this big trap to trap an Argent, and it's probably I don't know, 10 or 12 blocks high. I could literally just jump off of it and not take damage.
Yeah, it seems like if you fall off a mount, you take much more damage, despite the height being much. Like I died, I don't know how many times from a 3-block fall falling off my Pteranodon by lightning.
And I am wearing spring shoes, and so I don't know if that has an effect on it or what. Maybe it does.
Oh, and speaking of fall damage, though, if you are a Minecraft vet, one thing to beware about is in Minecraft, if you fall into a 4 water deep or further, it doesn't matter how far you fell. If it was 4 water deep or further, you didn't take any damage or die. That is not the case in this one. You can crater. I think I hit the ground and died in like a 8 or 9 deep block from falling from a far distance.
Wow.
Just be careful. The water is not quite as slowing down as it is in Minecraft.
Not so cushiony. They also nerfed the smoke height from the smelters. So when you fire up that smelter, you can't like do smoke signals for like the entire map now. Apparently. That's how I was finding everybody. Yeah. Not anymore. We need a mod. Classic smelter smoke.
Go, Lumen. Go,
So
Lumen.
my plan to put smelters along the entire bedrock and have the entire world crew
Null and void.
not going to work
Null and
anymore.
void.
Darn.
Alright, so here are the things they have fixed. They resolved an issue with rocket launchers, damage value not being correct. Resolved an issue with wild mushrooms, damage value not being correct. Resolved issue with items not decaying properly in workstations. Resolved issues with item loss when dying on a mount. Resolved. Yeah, apparently that was a big thing. Like, we had a lot of people in the Discord were like, oh, is that what happened? And dang it, I knew. I think there were like three people that were like, yep. Resolved issues with industrial smelter placement, which I know Tuxedo had a screenshot. He's like, why? But why? Because he wouldn't let him put it. He like built this big cranny for it. It was perfect. Wouldn't let him place it. Resolved issue with Steam achievements. Oh boy, that had. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people in an uproar about that.
About the Steam achievements, today a freaking Steam achievement popped saying that I survived my first storm or something stupid. I was like, I've been in storms before. I don't know what this is all about.
I did notice I got my, hey, you tamed your first dino today.
I was like,
Congratulations.
storm before. I don't know what this is all about. Yeah, that makes sense now. Now it makes sense.
I specifically remember you screaming as you fell off your mount.
Who? I think we probably all have fallen off our mount.
The only thing I've screamed about is the character limit, but moving on. Resolved issue with soil privilege marker
Moving
upper
on.
limits calculation. So apparently there was an issue with the privilege markers upper
Just
limits.
being absolute dookie. Oh.
It's yeah. It is. I mean, it's.
I ran
by later.
You're like, we'll talk about it later.
They resolved issue with spring chitin shoes unable to be created in the fabricator.
Go figure.
Resolved issue with characters being stuck in terrain sometimes. Resolved issue with the copper kettle unable to be used with water tap.
With a water tap.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep, another spoiler. Resolved shining wand effect issues. Don't want to know.
I
You
know.
didn't know what was a thing.
The copper
Copper
kettle
kettle.
being able to attach to the water tap. I honestly thought that was meant to be that way.
Well, now you could totally use it with a water tap. So that's cool to know.
You don't.
Right?
You probably still have to go into swimmable water though.
All right. Well, we're not going to be going anywhere alone because they shared a community event that started on April 5th. The Cricket is going to share with us.
The Don't Explore Alone community event, April 5th. Hello, explorers. PixArk released into early access this week with a bang, and we'd like to thank everyone for the massive support that we've gotten since then. Now that all of our explorers have been able to get out into the Ark, we feel it's time for our very first PixArk community event. We'll be having these events regularly, and each event will have different requirements for participation. For this event, we're looking for explorers to show us the most daring adventure they've had with their closest portable friend. Submit a screenshot or GIF of your explorer in either a dangerous or scenic location with a shoulder tame that is either keeping you company or providing moral support. All submissions should be sent to pixark.community@snailgamesusa.com. Please include your full server name, the region, and the number if you're on an official server, as well as a link to your Steam profile along with your submission. Submissions timeline. The community event will start today, Thursday, April 5th, and go off until Friday, April 13th. 3 winners will be chosen by the PixArk community team, and 1 winner will be chosen by the community. A community vote will be held on Steam on Monday, April 16th. All 4 winners will be announced on Tuesday, April 17th on Steam. Each winner will be provided an additional PixArk Steam game key. We're really excited to see all of these amazing locations and daring situations that each explorer has found themselves in recently. And additional questions or concerns about the event can be sent to the same submissions email posted above. Good luck, explorers, from the PixArk community team.
That's cool. I know that I'm not even at the place right now in the game where I'm even thinking about taming a shoulder pet. So
I thought you had
maybe a head pet, my bunny, but I
Yeah.
really wouldn't consider a shoulder pet, I guess.
That's a shoulder pet.
It's like a head. It's a head pet right on your head.
And also the firefly's a shoulder pet.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that is true.
I think those are some of the only ones that are there. The bunnies, the slimes, the...
Well, you know,
I still
want to
figure out the
Brontos
compies.
killing all of your shoulder pets while you're offline, you know, it kind of pisses on your prey. I think I've lost all of my shoulder pets with a dino with that stupid sauropod killing everything in our freaking base. Yeah.
There are more shoulder pets. I was like throwing babies in everybody's base earlier yesterday, 2 days ago.
Oh, I missed the fun on that one.
Yeah, I don't have that one either.
Well, they got those little ice things that sometimes pop up. Yeah, and then
those
the
are
compies.
cute. Yeah.
I just can't figure out how to tame a compy.
Mr. Goon is going to tell us, going to get us started, because one cool thing I've found is that the crew at PixArk is actually getting their feet wet with all the creatures, and they're sharing it on their Steam pages, and they're letting us get a little bit more acquainted with all the creatures we're going to be running into in Ark. So we have what they call the Explorer's Guide, PixArk Creatures number 1, and number 2 we're going to start to share with you. So Goon is going to get us started on that.
Maybe
Goon is going to get us started.
Goon is going to get us started on that.
Hey Goon! Where are you, Goon?
Hi.
Oh, hey there. You're in red, bud. You're in red.
Oh, I'm used to my green.
Oh,
Go flip a
sorry.
card.
This is a whole entirely different section of the show where I just had to make a rainbow of colors. So you have red to get us started with the Explorer Guides.
Explorer Guide, PixArk Creatures number 1, March 16th. Hello, explorers, and welcome to Explorer's Guide to PixArk Creatures number 1. Let's take a look at some of the creatures we'll be facing in the world of PixArk. The dodo. The dodo can be found in novice prairies and in grasslands. These silly birds don't offer much in the form of defense or offense. It's almost as though they were designed for beginners, explorers in mind.
Zombie. Zombies would like nothing more than to feast on explorer brains. Fortunately, some basic weapons and armor will allow you to handle these foes. However, be warned, they can only be found in the dark forest zone, which harbors even more danger than just the undead.
Raptor. Move over, lions. The raptor is the king of the jungle in PixArk. Raptors are fast, hard-hitting, and relentless. You had better hope you have a combination of ranged firepower and armor if you want to survive the attack by just one of these predators.
And they shared an Explorer Guide, PixArk Creatures number 2. This released today. It was on April 6th. And they said, hey, explorers, and welcome to Explorer's Guide to PixArk Creatures number 2. Today we're taking a look at some of the desert creatures, the desert and desert creatures you'll encounter in PixArk. And we're going to get started with the Terror Bird. I hate the damn Terror Bird. The Terror Bird is a fast, aggressive creature with a ferocious smite. You can try to run, but chances are you won't get very far. The terror bird's wings may not seem mighty, but it allows this bird of prey to leap longer distances than one might think. This makes the terror bird a good tame for scouting if you can capture one.
The dung beetle. The mighty dung beetle are small but deadly. Once they've noticed you, they will begin to use their circling tactic and then strike. They always come from behind.
Wow.
If a dung beetle bites you too many times, your torpor will increase. Thank you, everyone. Standing ovation.
Oh, goodness.
If it races too high, it will leave you in an unconscious state. Be careful. If you fight a dung beetle, these nasty bugs will alert nearby beetles, causing a swarm before you can react.
Oh, no way! They're evil.
I
I
want to
heard
check
they
that.
were
It sounded
more
wet.
vicious in PixArk than they were in Ark, but now...
So I noticed that the dung beetles that come out of the ruins do give you torpor, but the normal ones in the desert do not.
Yet.
Okay, so Emperor Scorpion. Like the Terror Bird, the Emperor Scorpion is an aggressive creature. They may not have the speed of a Terror Bird, but they are much harder to kill in combat. Watch out for their deadly pinchers and stinger. If hit too many times, you will be poisoned and your torpor will slowly increase, which will leave you in an unconscious state. The desert climate can be a super scorcher, so be sure to stay hydrated out there. Keep an eye out for more Explorer's Guide to PixArk articles.
So one thing, like with the Scorpion, I noticed like when we were playing on Official and I was building that wall around our little base, is because all of those dinos are so huge compared to us. You guys realize that? Like, you're looking up at a little mountain and the Scorpion is just like a freaking bus. It's like in the Sarco. It's like 4 freaking huge scorpion. It was just crazy. I'm like, we need walls and we need walls now.
We need platform saddles for those things.
Oh my god, yeah, that's right. There's so many cool things like in this one, because we can even put platform saddles on mantas, and the mantas are huge, and they have like glowing red eyes, and they're very evil looking. But my god, it's pretty cool.
I just want to throw this out there. The trikes are hollow.
They're hollow?
Don't ask why.
What do you mean?
They're hollow.
But it's like a donut with no filling hollow, or like...
Yeah, kind of. Like you could stand inside of them and never know. No one would ever know you're there.
So it's a good PvP hiding option, right? Just kind of...
It's like a
That's kind
turtle.
of like the turtles.
Yeah,
Okie dokie.
Well, you don't have to kill them.
I wanna know why you're always hiding
never
inside
mind.
animals. That's what I want to know.
We don't
Very
talk about
disturbing.
We don't need to talk about it. All right. Well, what we're going to be doing is going to be diving into all things PixArk, and we're going to be starting right now. We're going to cover the crew's initial thoughts. Every time in our gaming group and on the forums, everybody says, is it worth the $20? Or is it worth the $24.99 that it is normally when it's not on sale for $20? So, Felloon, what do you think? Is it worth the $20?
Absolutely. It's the same, and I'll just use the same analogy that we always use, whether it be on the show or internally in our Discord or whatever. You just compare that to, what does it cost you to go out and see a 2-hour movie? And then, I think at the time that I did this, I had like 86 hours in the game. So I divided out that way, and I spent about 50 cents for a couple hours.
crazy.
So if that's what you're looking for, yeah, definitely worth it. I mean, I find myself drawn to this game that I was really kind of a little bit skeptical about, listening to some of the past episodes. I wanted to try it, but I was so skeptical, and now I just can't pry myself away from it.
Which is awesome, right? That you
absolutely.
That you have this other outlet to hop into and enjoy yourself. Awesome. What do you think, Mr. Luminin? What do you think, Mr. Luminin?
Sorry, we were talking in the TeamSpeak chat. I was distracted and gagging over here.
Change your name to Lag. We'll change your name to Lag. Amish Lag is your new tag.
I kind of like it.
I know, right?
Got a good flow.
It does. Well, give us your flow. What do you think about the price of PixArk, and is it worth it?
I mostly did this to kind of be like the devil's advocate because I figured everybody was going to go yes, and I was right. I literally think there was the word definitely was used at least 3 times.
Definitely. We're just being honest.
Yeah.
It's not like it's $47.99. It's
So it's Minecraft, Ark. And, this is Felloon actually pointed this out, Dark and Light, and it kind of clicked when he said it. They had a baby. I don't know how it worked, but 3 people had a baby, or 3 games. You've got the best of all 3, and the worst of all 3. I think it's worth the promotional $19.99, but maybe not the full $25 yet.
You're ridiculous. $4.99 is your call-in. You're like, I draw the line at $4.99.
I mean, everybody has their line,
Well, that's $5.
I draw the line at $4.99.
So how many Twizzlers will that $5 buy?
Red vines.
5. That will get me 3. Almost 5
pounds. The number of hours we can have fun with Lumina on Red 40.
That's true. That's so true.
Anyways, from a regular play perspective, it's pretty darn good. But for an admin or the server owner, it's a pain. And frankly, it's been a very it's not like our current Ark setup.
This is your
fire
first
up the server.
Time, though, really having to head off a popular server in the gaming group right now. You get a nice taste of why we're like, have at it, Luminin.
Well, that's not so much the problem. I'm fine with that. It's just
it's a lot,
they did a very poor job setting this up for server owners.
That's how it always starts, though. That's how Ark started. It was not this bad. Yes, it was right out to. You didn't start running an Ark server until a year after the game was out in development. You didn't do one right off the bat.
That's true, I guess.
You didn't. I'm telling you, these servers, it's just like the game. They do not start. You're just spoiled when it comes to the Ark servers that you've ran, because every game that you can run a server on, they always start with a bare minimum of options. They really do. And then as they get to get their ground, we get more options. It's just.
Oh, it's not the number of options I have the problem with. I mean, there are things that work. Yes. Why do I have a button I can type in a different number here if it doesn't do anything? I don't know. I don't. But my goodness, that's.
Well, so I think part of the admin issues with that might be because I think they kind of copied and pasted a bunch of stuff from Ark, and so I think some of that stuff is kind of legacy in there from that. Is my guess.
It seems like they went through and kind of cherry picked a little bit, but it doesn't make sense why it doesn't have an effect on the game. If I bump up the experience rate, you guys should automatically receive more experience. I ran into
this when we started our first Ark server. I had the same problems. I was making changes and they were not being baked. It was super frustrating.
Yeah,
and people get irritated and you're the middleman. You're like, I'm putting in the stuff and then you're not getting the results. I've been there. I know exactly how you feel.
Well, I haven't had anybody angry at me. It's just
we've all been accustomed to it. But when we started the gaming group and we were really fired up on Ark and stuff, there was a lot of people not understanding that our hands are tied. We can put in INI changes or we can put in slider changes and all that stuff, but if the actual website does not take it, there's nothing we can do.
Well, it's not the website. I think it's the actual game.
I don't know.
Well, that's Ark to this day has admin commands that don't do anything.
Yes.
It's it's there, but there's a command that you can change your player size so you can make yourself huge, a mountain size. Doesn't work. It's been there for...
That works on console. My son does it all the time, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha.
I have experienced the bugs from that. You can shrink yourself down too small and you fall through the dirt. Like, had that happen.
Yeah,
But
that's
you don't actually change size. It's just like your hitbox does, which is
But
a
this
pain.
has been an early access game. When they're copying stuff off the official onto a private server, and they're worried about the official stuff, get everything done with there. I don't think they're really worried about your switches yet on the private servers. They're probably not, because they don't
maybe
use the
not.
switches on official. The switches that you're trying to change,
That's a good
they're
point,
not using
yeah.
them on official, so they're probably not using them for the private yet either.
Yeah, that could be. Now, another big problem I have is actually, I'm certain it's with Nitrado. Like, there's these checkboxes for like PvE versus PvP. It's PvP automatically. You hit this little checkbox, it switches to PvE. I had to restart that server like 7 times one day because that checkbox kept unchecking itself.
Yes! Don't you remember that used to happen to us on Ark? Because they had 3 different boxes. And if you didn't have 3 random boxes all checked, PvP would be on. It was the weirdest thing. And I don't know if you guys... Because remember when...
I remember there was like friendly fire.
Felloon up? That's because we had it checked off. We had all of the boxes to be PvE, but then they added a 3rd box. And we didn't have that box checked.
I remember because you had
3 boxes.
You had the box for PvP, PvE, and then there was non-tribe member carry with a bird.
Yeah.
And then there was friendly fire.
Yeah, it was all 3 different versions that all resulted in PvP that you had to have all the... Yeah, I hear ya. It's...
Yeah, they have boiled
sketchy.
it down.
Yeah, they
But,
have. They've
like,
changed
why?
it over time.
And I didn't have to click on the box again. I just had to restart the server. It's like 7 times before it stuck.
Yeah, the baking process is ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess, we're starting with like a billows. You got to keep the billows pumping, otherwise the fire's not hot enough and you get badder.
There you go. I hear you, man. I know what you're feeling.
Cricket.
I know what you're feeling.
Cricket.
All right, I guess
You're
it's
the one
over to me then.
talking. Oh, I was like, I didn't know you were done.
Well, I wasn't sure if he was done or not. So, this game has just kept me sane this week. At work, it has just been a crazy busy work. I've been putting in, over 10-hour days. And so being able to come home to a game that is simple and it doesn't take me 30 minutes to log into was just great. I mean, if I was, still trying to sit there and spend the time logging into like I was doing with Primitive Plus, it would kind of drive me crazy because I've been getting home so late to begin with that I wouldn't want to, waste all that time before I can actually do something and play around. And I came on and the game was very harsh to begin with. We're dying left and right to dinos, getting one shot by everything. And I think it was just our learning curve. We're so used to Ark that it has a slightly different playstyle to it. It's a much closer playstyle to Minecraft. And when I first... Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I pressed my mute button again.
Can anybody hear him?
Shut up. And so... like with Minecraft, when I first started playing that, I was dying left and right to creepers and all kinds of like that until you kind of learn the little tricks that you have to do and the little tactics you have to do. It's different. So once I started thinking of the game as playing Minecraft instead of playing Ark, the dino fights and stuff got a little easier and everything like that. So it's just been fun, and I can only imagine that they're going to be kind of stealing more stuff from Minecraft as it goes through, because when Minecraft first came out, it was nowhere near the functional game that it is now. They've put out many updates for it. One of them that I'm looking forward to, if they can do something like that, was when Minecraft put out the Redstone update, where they put the circuits out there where you could make all kinds of machines and all kinds of things you could think of, where you can have doors that open when you step on a switch plate and doors automatically open and close, and you can have all these different things. And I'm hoping they put something kind of like that, because they already have electricity, so hopefully they'll put in some kind of switches and circuitry you can do, which would just be really neat. And they already have like the mine carts and stuff as well, which I haven't played with, but I'm just looking forward to what else they add while I play through with figuring out what they already have. And that's it for me.
I'm pumped. If they add the redstone like they have in Minecraft, that would be amazing.
Don't they have like electricity things?
Yeah,
like
but
they're shown in the loading screen, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah,
that's-
but with the redstone, some of the stuff that allows you to do is they added in comparators, and they added in and ore circuits,
Repeaters,
and
pistons,
all kinds of stuff that basically, if you can create something on a breadboard with with electrical circuits, you can do it in Minecraft. You can have logic in your things where if switch A and B are both turned on, it doesn't do anything, but if only one of them is turned on, it does something. And so you can make three-way circuits and all kinds of just neat stuff, which the WD portion of me just gets geeky about.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's honestly what kept me in Minecraft for as long as it did.
I don't know how many automatic doors and stuff I tried to create.
So for me, it's been a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of rough learning experiences as time has gone on. I've had to rebuild my base about 3 different times now due to small little accidents that keep happening. Due to mechanics, it's super easy to restart, unlike normal Ark. So I feel like it's definitely worth about $20. I've already definitely put in more than $20 worth of the game.
Definitely not my underwear.
Definitely. How about you, Goon?
Well, being an early access game, I have to say it was well worth the money. It's a lot further along than a lot of the early access games I've played before. I mean, it still glitches and things need balancing, but it's a blast to play. And I just checked, as of right now, the sale's no longer happening. The price is back up to $24.99 now. So the sale's done.
Not worth it.
That's 5 pounds of licorice.
Yeah, and as you're saying, pointing out, it is early access. It's going to grow, and even if you buy it now and you play it for a little bit, and it's like, oh, it's pretty fun, but let it bake and just sit aside for a year and then come back to it, and you'll have already paid for it, and you just come back and play it.
In all honesty, unless you guys, obviously you guys told me that it was early access, but unless you guys have told me it was early access, I would have never known. Like, I felt like it was pretty well done out of the gate, I guess, from a buyer's perspective.
I felt the same way. I honestly did.
Which that's a nice segue into the purple text.
Oh, hey. Yeah, so I agree with Goon and Blue. I was really surprised with how playable the game actually is, because I didn't think that I was actually going to like the black versions of the dinosaurs that I know and love in Ark, but I actually do. And there are so many new creatures and PixArk, in addition to some of our favorites, that it keeps everything really fresh and exciting, because it seems like every time I do venture out just to go get nosy, I see something that I never saw before, or I get eaten by something I never saw before.
Or does it see you?
Yeah,
Got
or
eaten
the
by
plants.
something I've never been eaten
Yeah.
before.
Exactly. I get consumed. So I thought I already had that at $24.99, and then somebody must have changed it, because it was at $24.99. So somebody changed my notes. But yeah, and I ran into one of those little people eating plants today and got killed and ate by a plant, because it reminded me of the freaking Seymour plants on Little Shop of Horrors, and I ran up and I was like, and it was like,
Miss Seymour?
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, that's so cool, so we're not used to that kind of stuff in Ark, so I thought that was really neat. So
there are actually a lot of meme plants in this game.
yeah, there really are, and I feel like that's what keeps you on your toes, And that's the funny thing about this game, is that it looks so friendly, but it's way more hardcore, I feel like, than Ark is.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of know what you're getting. The plants all somehow give you the three or four same berries and Ark. Here, these plants don't want you around. They don't like you. They're not buying what you're selling, and they want you out of the joint. They want you out of there. So I just think that's cool. It has such a friendly, cartoony vibe, but I feel like it is more hardcore, honestly, than Ark at this point. So
Have you guys been killed by the penis flytrap yet?
No, but my Pegasus
did you
has
say
a
the-
penis tail. Does that
Is that
count?
hell of a
the penis flytrap?
Yikes.
Yikes.
So,
All right, so my favorite part of the game so far would be CRR members plus Minecraftian elements. Makes for a
aw.
ton of fun. It's very surprising to me to see just how many of you people have never played Minecraft. In my opinion, Minecraft is to survival games what World of Warcraft is to MMOs. If you're playing survival games, Minecraft is kind of like, I can't believe you've never played this, because it was the original survival sandbox game, I should say. That's like, Esme, I've heard you say several times, oh, you play all these different MMOs, but you've never played WoW? That's like, everybody's played WoW.
Yeah, it blows my mind. You just assume that everybody has at least played WoW before.
Well, that's how I am with Minecraft. You guys kept saying, "Oh, I've never played." I'm like, "What? How have you not?"
Technically, I played for 30 minutes, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm over this." And then I logged out.
You could barely dig a hole.
That's why I said I don't really count that. I swam across a body of water, being chased by green things, and I left.
Slimes.
This is kind of stupid, and then I left. I wasn't feeling it. I went back to Ark.
Now, see,
I left 8-bits when I left the Atari.
Yeah, right?
Well, this is 16-bit. They're bigger blocks.
They're voxels.
Yeah.
On the Unreal Engine, right?
No. Actually, I don't know. Is PixArk on Unreal?
Yeah, we've decided that it is because it's all labeled under shooter game, which was under the Unreal Engine 4. So that's how we decided that it was. And by we, I mean on our Crossroom cast. So
I'll look into it.
Well, anyways, don't stop what you're doing, dude, and to look into it.
Don't stop.
Cricket. That's all I had.
Oh, okay. Cricket. That's you, man. That's you, Cricket. Cricket must be taking a cricket now.
He fall asleep?
Oh, no,
He must be taking the crickets to the pool.
I was talking, and then I thought you guys were just
For the
being
love of
jerks and
biscuits.
talking over me.
No.
Fast tames and big bad dinos means don't get attached to your friends. I love that the tamings, the tames don't take much time at all, and the fact that the dinos will kill your tames really quick. While it's annoying, it's not as bad because you can retame something else quickly. I also just love the fact that they have structures that are kind of powered by dinos, or they use the dinos. I've only gotten a chance to use 2 of them, which one is the dodo pen, where you can put up to 4 dodos inside of it, and then you just tell them to produce eggs, and as long as they're fed, they'll just keep producing eggs, and it collects them.
Wow.
Another is the Phiomia hut, where you put 2 Phiomias in there, and you just put thatch in there, and it automatically basically collects their poop and turns into fertilizer at a very fast rate.
It's
That's
so cool.
really
It's
cool.
like
I like
it's
that.
modded. It's like they took some of these really cool mods that are in Ark, and they were like, let's just bake it into the game. It's so cool.
And then there's a thing called the Gigantopithecus drawbridge. When I was playing around for sciencing on single player earlier, I built one and dropped it down, but I didn't have any spawn codes for Gigantopithecus to spawn them in, and I didn't feel like going and chasing 2 of them down. But it looks like it's just a big drawbridge, and I guess you get 2 of them, and they'll work the levers, and they'll raise it and lower it. Is what it looks like.
the muscle.
So that just looks really cool. And then there's also a raptor generator, which I'm assuming you'll put a raptor in, and it will run along a treadmill and generate electricity for you.
Now that is just hilarious.
I can't wait to have one of those.
Yeah, I can't wait to unlock that.
I was going to say, can we ask what level you are right now, Cricket?
I am 66 or 67, I think.
I think I'm only level 30.
And the raptor generator is level 80, which I believe is the highest level.
For the love of biscuits.
I think Foe is the highest level on our server. He was 75.
Yeah, but he voodooed himself up there.
Don't you taint Foe.
Accident.
Well, no, he has a good story behind it.
It was an accident.
Okay.
The experience
Was it
rates...
an accident because of your accident? No, never mind.
No, that one was not. No. that story will come later. But the experience rates are lower requirements here than it is in Ark. So the same amount of experience that would put you to 1 level in Ark takes you to a much higher level in here. So he was just trying to get back to where he was, and it didn't take him there.
Kind of overshot it.
Yeah.
Just a wee bit.
But as far as also comparing this to Minecraft, as I'm sure we'll do in a lot of our PixArk casts, one of the best parts about it is the fact there's no creepers in this game. For those that hadn't played Minecraft, those green things that you're running from is called a creeper, and when they get close to you, they're a walking stick of dynamite.
Oh my goodness!
When they get close to you, they start to hiss, which means their fuse is lit,
God.
and after about 3 seconds, they explode, which means that any blocks within a 4x4, like a 4x4x4 cube or something, are just completely blown away. So they will come by and they'll blow holes in the area around you, or if they're near your base, they'll blow holes in your base.
Oh no!
If you build your base with hard enough structures, it will prevent them from blowing that up. But they'll still blow holes in all the dirt and grass around you and just make a mess of things. So
I don't think Esme can handle those things because they actually scare the living piss out of you because all you hear is a freaking a sizzle and then boom.
Swimming. I hear you. That's why I never log back in.
Yeah, because they come out of nowhere. Now, granted, they only the creepers will come out during the day, but there are ways to kind of prevent them from getting near your base if you keep your light levels up and all that in Minecraft. But we don't have to talk about that, but just no creepers means that our bases are going to be fairly intact, except from some other issues that might happen, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So that's all I have to say about that.
We might not have creepers, but we have randos coming in.
We have crickets.
My mouth is full. I'm eating a Triscuit, so you're on your own.
So far for me, my favorite part of PixArk has been the mining. It's been a blast. It's definitely throwing me back to the Minecraft days. Me and my wife used to have a lot of fun in Minecraft. Also, doing the little ruin runs have been pretty entertaining. I've only done the coyote one, but I know, Cricket, you've done quite a few.
Yeah, you need to go into the pyramid. It's fun.
Oh, man.
Whenever I get rebuilt again,
I feel
maybe I'll get there.
We are rebuilding again, and I feel like that just put us off. Like, I won't be able to see that stuff, but at least we'll have some veterans.
I kind of feel like then I should go into the pyramid and remove all the
I feel like you just need to rebuild again and then give us some time.
Well, there's probably a ton of different pyramids. I know, like, with the coyotes ruins, there is, like, 20 of them. There's not just one.
Yeah, I mean, the pyramids are only going to be in the desert biome, and I've only seen the one because it's a pretty big structure. So there might be another one. But yeah, because I built some stuff in there, it will make it easier for anybody else to kind of follow in there. So that's why, I kind of feel like maybe I should go in there and just remove all that to make you guys get the full experience that I had.
We'll get there when we get there.
We will, and we won't tell you. We're not going to tell you if we're even close. That's how
gotta do it all as a group. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Taming is super simple in PixArk. I can definitely say in one day I lost about 4 pterodons and just as quick tamed 4. So
4, you child.
I haven't done any of the magic stuff yet, though. I heard those are a little bit more challenging, but it's still a lot easier than regular Ark.
And I feel like this is what they did. They're like, because do you guys remember when the game was, before it was launched, they were toting that they were only going to let you have a dino for 3 days, and then it was just going to magically, like, go back to the world, and, like, your teams would only last for 3 days. Yeah, right? And everybody was like, rah! And they're like, okay. So now they just make all of our normal tames just, like, freaking squishy as shit, so they really only last 3 days, but that's because...
Or 3 hours. 3 hours, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of sketchy, you know?
But isn't it still that way on official and then on...
No, I don't think so, because I feel like they said that they retracted that, like they weren't going to do that.
Well, I thought because we were on a private server, Luminant turned that off.
No, they announced that they decided not to do that at all.
Oh,
so
right for them.
Yeah. So, but now all of our, basic dinos are pretty damn squishy.
Yeah,
Which is fine. I mean, whatever.
I do like that they have many more of the creatures are passive tames. A lot of the herbivores are passive tames instead of knockouts.
I agree. I think that is cool.
Because it allows people to get the taming going right away. Because it's like, I want a Phiomia. All I need is to grab some berries. And
unless
I can
the trike wanders into a Rex.
Or I want a trike, and all I need to do is just get some berries and then make the saddle. And that being said, they do have level requirements for taming things, which is essentially the saddle. So you can't do like you did in Ark, where it's like, I'm level 10 and I knocked out and I'm taming a Pteranodon. I'm just gonna trade for a saddle or get someone to purchase craft a saddle for me and ride around that early.
Well, I've only seen that level restraint on a couple dinos, like the Ceropods. I have not even tried it, Rex. I'm not even gonna attempt that one yet. But
I want to say the tricatid, but
oh yeah, it did. You're right.
It was like level 35.
It was like level 30.
Yeah, basically it's the level. It's the level of the saddle. So it's
only the helpful dinos.
It's their way of making it where you need to be able to craft the saddle yourself.
Yeah, because I know the pterodons, we can tame them pretty early without having the saddle.
Oh yeah, you can tame any of them, actually. Well, no.
No, you couldn't tame a trike early on.
Right, there's a level requirement.
Yeah. Last but not least, I've really enjoyed the different options for trapping dinos. You're no longer restricted to the different building structures. You can do holes in the ground, like Felloon did. Well, I guess it
was Tuxedo Badger's idea that I robbed.
Yeah, but you did a nice upgrade to it, and props to Tux. It was fantastic. I was kind of oogling over the one that Felloon had, so sorry Tux. But yeah, that's what's been fun for me. How about you, Felloon?
Well, I've never really played Minecraft before, so like a lot of my time has been spent putting my base together, and it's all been underground. And so one of the things like Goon talked about early on, which our experience on official from Jackwagons, we opened this server up to the public. So he's like, well, I encased my house in foundations and walls and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh geez, that's a super idea. So I started working on that. I mean, and I have several different levels and different sizes of rooms carved out. So I spent a couple of days just doing that part of it and trying to get used to that mechanic, I guess. I don't know. And I was kind of looking to see if maybe different levels had different grades of blocks, like the gems and the marble and the copper and the iron and things like that. I don't know that I've really figured anything out, but it's definitely something that
I do know that there's
an architecture tab where you can do like bamboo structures, and I think later on the higher level you get, there's marble, isn't there?
But I think he means the depth of the
yeah, like where it would be in the ground,
And from what I kind of observed, like marble doesn't show up until deeper down. And I know like the light and the dark gems, I didn't encounter them until I was pretty deep down when I was digging my mine down. So I think there's some degree of it. But I'm not sure if it's how harsh it may have been.
Yesterday I was goofing around looking at different things. And I went to a cavern, noticed that there was some kind of a zombie ruins down there under the ground. I thought that was pretty cool. And then I came out and I was in like that autumn forest or whatever. I don't know what biome that is, but it's kind of an autumn theme.
Golden.
The one with all the RGs and everything?
Yeah, golden.
Is it the bamboo forest with all the like birch trees and argents and stuff?
Well,
that's not the bamboo.
No bamboo there.
Our bamboo forest is the mountain forest. It's called the Golden Realm.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it has. Yeah, I know.
So I was over there, and I came out over there, and I seen some RGs over there. So I thought I'm gonna go over there because I want an RG eventually, just because. And so I'm gonna go over there and see what I could do about where should I put a trap up, kind of make that plan. And then when I got over there, the marble is coming out of the ground right there. I'm like, wait a minute, what is that? And it's just all over the place on the surface.
Like right up on the top?
Yeah, right up on the top, because I was actually looking for some to build crop plots. So you need like 20 marble or something like that to build a crop plot.
So maybe it's biome based in some of those cases too.
I think so. Yeah, I think some of that.
Makes me wonder, like the cursed land, which is the place where all the big nasties are. If that has maybe that has some interesting stuff in it.
Well, I know with like Minecraft, they had resources set on depth. I wonder if they kind of added to that and made it depth plus the biome.
Yeah,
like different things.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. I like that. Having both of those elements. So anyway, that's pretty much all I've been been doing, and after I got that kind of done, now I want to be out with the wild dinos. I'm going to be out there taming things and running through the ruins to see how many times I can die, whatever. But that's the next thing on my agenda, to be out there in the world looking at things and exploring whatever else they've got set up.
Pretty cool. So am I? Oh, Goon, you are next, right?
Yeah, see, it's in green. You can see
it.
Green for Goon.
Well, taming and mining is a nice pastime for you guys. I have to say the best part I find most enjoyable is the fact that I can actually dig down or build up the ground. To me, that's an awesome part of the game. That includes, you can spread the water around as you move dirt around. You can actually spread the water around. And another part that I like is that when you hit a dodo, they cry. They have little tears. They have tears coming out of their eyes, looking at you. Yes.
I haven't got that close.
Oh, you got to get first-person view. Hit them in the head. Watch them.
Oh my!
They run away crying, tears flying out of their eyes. It's hilarious.
Oh my goodness!
It's the small things.
It's the little things in life. And
too crazy.
The last thing that I really enjoy, that I'm so happy about, is when you die, whatever's on your toolbar stays on your toolbar. You don't lose it.
Yeah,
that's
that
awesome.
is delicious.
Yes. That is fantastic. So, Goon, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
What do you like better? Do you like better gathering materials in Ark or gathering materials in PixArk?
Ark. I like it better in Ark.
And why is that?
Not as much of it. Just to get a gem, you have to dig down 40 feet to get a gem. You can't. It's fun.
That is fair.
It's fun, but it's way too much time just to find a gem.
Well, as far as gems, I would like iron. I'd probably compare it to iron or something like that.
Yeah.
Because like the gem spiders just drop a ridiculous amount of gems. Ridiculous.
What? I haven't found
literally
those
pin
yet.
you to the ground.
I haven't found those yet. I've just been going for what's I've been in my area. I haven't even left my area yet.
I hear ya.
I mean, I found a cavern, but that's a different story.
Story for another day or later on.
For another segment.
Yeah. All right. Well, what I love about the game so far is I love the customization of our characters. I think it's pretty cool that we get to kind of personalize. You can have like an eye patch or glasses or a pacifier or really creepy Princess Leia buns like Goon.
Way better buck teeth.
I know, buck teeth. Like you can do those little gummy buck teeth like things that it makes you look like you have real buck teeth, but they're little gummy buck teeth. It's really cool. I think it's cool. It's funny. It adds a nice spin to it. Like all the stuff that's actually in the game with your hairstyles and your outfits, and I just
cool
thought they
dude
did a really good
glasses.
job. Yeah, I was really impressed by that. And I also love the fact that in this game, there are actually quests that, like, if you just feel like you want to go and try to do some quests, there's actually quests in the game and you get rewards for stuff. And I love that the maps are all different because they're procedurally generated. So if you hop on one server, it could be entirely different. It's not like we're always on, because we come from Ark Survival Evolved, you're either on Ragnarok, or you're on Aberration, or you're on the island, or you're on the center, or you're on Scorched Earth, or you're on a modded map. And, but here everything is procedurally generated where, Ark offers that, but they also put the little small print that says, if you run this procedurally generated map, all of your creations can just be, disappear overnight because it's procedurally generated. Like it was like new technology that they just really haven't put their stamp of approval on yet, where PixArk embraces it and like that's what they do. Like every map you go on is going to be different. So I think that's cool. And I love that this game can play on my laptop. That's not meant for gaming. So I like that. Granted, I run with all the graphics on low and things take a little longer to render. But hey, that's the price you pay when you're on wireless internet and you're like out in your yard or on the other side of the house. You could still do that. And I think that's cool. And I love that there are already decorations and stuff we can do to add to our homes and our living area in the game. Like we're right now in Ark, we have to rely on mods, and that really cuts out the entire part of console players. And I think that it's really cool that right at the base game and the vanilla version of PixArk, there are these opportunities. So you don't have a bunch of stuffiness. You can add rugs and little things to make it cool. So that was cool. And I also have never played Minecraft, so I really love the mining and the building, and I love the water physics, and I love realizing that once you like open your mind, you're like, I can really build anything I want. You know, once you get a decent pickaxe and an axe, and you just go to town, you can really make some really cool structures. I think that's really fun. And I kind of got trapped. I was trying, and my goal is to make like a underwater observatory, and I tried that on official, and I got trapped for about 20 minutes inside of a block. And I tried everything I could to try to, and I found the only thing that saved me was going inside a first person and cave view and trying to demo stuff around me. And then that's eventually how I freed myself, because I was trapped in a weird position where I wasn't underwater. Like the game didn't register me underwater because my lungs weren't, filling up with water, but yet, and I would have been there forever until I starved to death, honestly. And it took a long time because I wasn't able to move or do anything. So the other thing that got me out of there was just being patient and trying different camera views to demolish stuff that I was working on. So I learned that the hard way. When you mess with water and land, that's kind of a gray area. It gets a little sketchy at this point where you can kind of get trapped. So be warned on that. But I think it's going to be neat when I can actually master keeping water at bay, but also making a barrier and setting up windows and stuff and being able to do like an underwater kind of a room. It's going to be really cool.
Well, and now they have the revive command, which essentially is a suicide pill.
Yeah, that's all new, because back last week that wasn't a thing, so I'm excited about that.
That just hit. I noticed that today. I was like, oh, revive, what's this still?
Yeah.
When I was so science going single player, it's like, I died. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
It's neat, isn't it?
It's a nice suicide pill, so we don't have to eat poop and die.
Sit around and wait. Right. So that is exciting. And I love that if we want to tame something or run from something, I can just make a box out of dirt and get it done. I love that. I love that you don't have like all these taming pens all over the server. You can literally just boop, 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 dig a hole, have something run after you and like fall into it, or just quickly make some sort of a trapping device and trap something. I think that's really cool. And I also love how some items we can we can pick up, like if we put down a certain stuff, like doors and stuff, like if we don't like that quality of a door, we want to move the door, we don't have to demolish it, we can pick that up. So there's some stuff in the game that we don't have to demo right away that we can pick up. I think that's pretty handy too. So a lot of cool stuff that I love about the game so far. But what we're going to be moving into now that we have showered PixArk with our yummy love fangirl and fanboy rays of sunshine, we're going to get a little real, and we're going to talk about some things that we really are not feeling and we think maybe need some more TLC, or hey, maybe even need to be removed. So that's what we're going to be talking about now. All right, Luminen, what do you got for us?
Too many characters, what the duck? No! And admin's command server settings are kind of a pain. That's about it.
Now, you are going to get out of this so scot-free. You need to elaborate, because someone might be listening that cares, and they want to know how you feel about this.
I will use my words.
Use your words!
Oh, I can't, because there's too many characters, so it's just going to delete my message instead of sending it to chat, and then I have to retype it like 6 times because...
What is that? That is so stupid. Like, why do they let you go through
the whole thing? Yeah, typing out the whole thing. No, sorry.
And especially, I didn't even notice that it was doing it at first. I just assumed my stuff was going through, and and people weren't responding. I was like, what's going on? And I'd look back at the back chat. I'm like, my chat didn't go through. What's going on? Because it pops up for literally like half a second that says too many characters.
Yeah.
It's like, do we even have Twitter, Twitter number characters that we can put in
No.
there. It's
Twitter was 140. I think now it's 280.
yeah, but it's just like, are you crazy?
And I'm
This
eating
is
my
what,
biscuit
10?
again, so
I
I
agree.
apologize. That was the first thing I thought too. I was like, do these people not Twitter? What?
Yeah, I had to take several deep breaths. Like, it was like everything I tried to type, like, too many characters. I'm like, even Twitter is doing 280. Shut up, type what I'm just send what I'm saying.
And
Well,
you know what? You know this is serious because our Luminant doesn't swear,
Never.
and
Right.
he did over this. So
Yes, he did.
serious.
It was impressive.
But it wasn't a real one. It was
Yeah.
like in text form, and it was abbreviated. So I'm not giving him a
But
full
still.
swear card.
He
But
still
definitely-
typed it.
there.
Yeah,
That's
I definitely
something.
feel like he done lost his mind at that point.
Well, I don't know if you guys know it or not, but I quit using the global chat. I started using server broadcast to talk to people. I'm just really. I was talking to Tuxedo and them the other day. I was full on going through the server chat because I can type whatever I want in there as long as I want.
Yeah.
I just remember the first day on official, you were getting so angry.
Yeah, because at least with Arc, it just stops your typing when you hit the limit.
Yeah.
So
Why?
you can't get to the point where you try to put too many. You
It's-
realize
it was
before
just
you
like-
enter what's going to go through.
It's like 6 times in a row. It was like, okay, what is the character limit? Like, oh, you're over 30 characters. Too long. Like, it just seems like it's ridiculously
Short.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I
I agree.
So with Arc, the character limit was reasonable. With PixArk, it's like they're trying to force you to speak cave speak.
they want it to be a one-liner on like a screen that's like a 900 pixel width or
Yeah.
It's
it just
dumb.
gets under my skin. It was like one of the things because I like somebody asks a question, I like to be very thorough with my answer. Well, I can't because then I have to be one of those people who sends like 3 words in a text and they send you like 40 texts in a row to get all the words out there. I hate that. I
And the thing is I don't understand, like, in this day and age, like, why they thought 160 characters was good, and why also they didn't even think about putting in something to alert you. Even F.
Yeah, make it
It's their
stop.
game. Yeah, it's their game. At least let it put in what you had and then cut it off so you're not... It's a nice compromise, you know?
yeah, like you
Crap,
type it all out and it
what I did. Yeah.
yeah, not like the whole thing vanishes. Now
Now
what?
it's just a damn guessing game, you know? It's not like you have a clicker and every
There's no
time you-
counter. The last character doesn't turn red. It
Like,
doesn't
come
stop you.
on.
Nothing. Just nope.
It's like primitive Twitter.
So
Very
I
primitive.
just tested and confused the hell out of Tuxedo. We can type 63 characters.
63. What is that?
63.
So
60.
stupid. So it's not even 100. Why did I think it was 160? You could only
I
do
don't know.
63.
What 63 can make sense from a programming point of view because that's it's a multiple of 2 and everything. So, but
That's a
still,
wet one.
You said 63?
yeah, because 0 to 63 is
No, 64 characters.
was that 7-bit, I think.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, come on. You
It's
guys were correct. It is
2018.
built on Unreal
Figure
Engine.
shit
Yeah,
together. That's how wet
I
his name
completely
is.
agree. But yeah,
Like, gosh darn it. It's just. On an official, especially on PvP, I kind of get it. You want to limit the trolls, you want to limit the blah. Fine. But you know what? It doesn't really help because now they have to send 40 messages instead of 4.
Yeah,
There
it's
is. Oh,
And
gosh.
have you guys ever been topped out on Ark Survival Evolved on messages, like on quick characters? Like, I don't know how many.
Rarely.
characters, but I feel like I've never really, and I feel like it was a comfortable amount of text. So I don't know why they have taken so many aspects of Ark, obviously.
Because
but why
it's
not
so
that?
much better.
Like, what is that? What is
because
that?
it's
you
the
know?
best of Arc
But
and
we all know that's
Dark and
not
Light and
real. Like that's
Minecraft.
you know.
But you see, this is my $5 right here. This is why it's only worth $19.99. That's it right there.
See that's a little passive aggressive. You know, if I can say this as your friend, like it's a little passive aggressive. No,
Me?
but,
No.
no, not you. But yeah,
Your face.
It's, as a talkie, I can appreciate your torch carrying on this. So I'll jump to your side.
It's not a torch. I'm like full on flamethrower here. Like just get out of my way.
Fine.
Yes, there you go.
So many things can irritate you, but this one thing, that's the only thing I think I've ever really heard you complain about. So There's definitely some validity there.
Oh, I run
And
up
it's
against it all the
frustrating.
time.
It's
I gotta
super
agree,
frustrating.
because I feel comfortable with what I'm used to in Arc. Don't think I've ever run up against the limit, and
I
it's
feel the
nothing
same
like
way.
that
Yeah,
here.
I agree. It's rare that you do an arc. Like they've copied so much other stuff. Like it's even the same design. Like the chat box is the same size. It's in the same location. The font's all the same. The coloring of the font's the same. Why didn't they just copy the amount of characters you could use? It's not like they had to build it from the ground up.
Yeah.
My hands are up right now. Like I'm talking with my hands.
And the thing is, it's not like there's a lot of complaining in Arc. It's like, oh, so many people were up in arms on Reddit over the amount of characters allowed in Arc Survival Evolved. So
Yeah, you need to
when
cut
we
that
do
back.
PixArk, we need to, that's one of the first things we're gonna do is just roll that shit back. We're gonna Walmart the
Nerf it.
hell out of that. No.
Oh my god, the character limit is still too high.
Still too high. Take it down. We want people grunting.
Yes, primitive speech. We're going. It's like text talk, but like primitive. So
Exactly.
2 character.
So
like,
weird.
ugh. But now that I think about it, maybe it's a language thing. I don't know.
Box. It's totally a box thing.
Well,
That's what
really
it is.
though, the Chinese language, their characters. How many characters do they have?
Well, who shared that
Couple.
weirdo? No, that was a Japanese video, right? That was Japanese.
I don't
Was
know.
that weird video we all had to watch in our Discord about that chewy long candy?
Long
Like-
man.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess I can see, like, long man. We should probably put
Definitely
that
a
in
call
our-
me maybe.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? Yeah, but yeah, I guess maybe it is. Maybe it is just, some, because we're very wordy in our culture. We need as many characters as possible. Maybe it's just that.
Well, I mean, their
points.
characters take up less room, is what I'm saying. Like the actual lettering or symbols that they use. They're very specific. So they type like a 4-word. They type like 20 characters, but it converts it down to 4 characters because it's a very specific. So it doesn't take up as much room. So maybe that wasn't an issue they ran into and they didn't notice.
Hey, it makes you wonder, because this is Snail Games and they are the parent company of Wildcard Studios or whatever, and it makes you wonder how much collaboration is not happening or is happening,
Right.
or is just
Yeah.
assumed. Yeah, it makes you
I
wonder.
feel like it's not happening.
Yeah, I
feel
agree.
like that. I thought that when I started seeing, I mentioned this earlier this week when I started seeing Wildcard Chris, wouldn't you think that when you had another Arc franchise-ish pop out, you would at least stream some of that? But dude was just streaming Far Cry 5. It just seemed very weird to me that a known wildcard employee on Twitter was streaming all week long Far Cry 5 during the release of Arc Park. That just sat with me weird. You know what I mean? Because we've all worked for companies, and we've all, you would think that you're working for a company,
Champion for it.
Yeah, champion it. Well, it was to me a middle finger, hey, Arc Park, they have freaking Slipgator running their stuff and QQing on the forums, right?
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But, they have dude playing their game, and apparently it's almost like he doesn't really want to, but he is, because he seems very whiny about it, and it's only in the first week, and I'm like, whoa, how does that happen?
They still haven't
Their
fixed it.
own wildcard Chris is not even playing the game at all. But then I thought, well, he was the dude that said he'd never played Ark Survival Evolved without admin commands last year. So I thought, well, maybe he's just not maybe it's just not his thing. He just works for a company but doesn't use the product. I don't know.
Right.
It was just
Well, I
weird,
mean, I
though.
understand that. I can almost understand the Arc Park because the VR equipment's expensive, and I don't see them as a company budgeting that out for him to do.
Right.
Oh, look, I'm streams for it.
But freaking PixArk,
Yeah,
come on.
PixArk is that one. That's kind of.
It seemed
But again,
a little weird to me.
that kind of points to the collaboration. That their studio has next to nothing. They probably just literally signed contracts for the use of their
Makes me
materials.
wonder that as well. Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Like a sellout in that way. Let's just expand in that direction, and they couldn't do it all on their own, because we've talked before about how they seem to be a little, thin on the whole people process, there doesn't seem to be as many people running the show as you would think. So they do outsource a lot. You know, they have their mod program,
Right.
and, you know, they outsource a lot of that content. It helps, you know, give us some breadcrumbs, you know, with the free maps and stuff like that to keep us satiated. But at the end of the day, yeah, it actions speak louder than words, and that's what I picked up on when Wildcard Chris is just hitting Far Cry 5 hardcore. I thought that's really interesting. That's telling. He has not even streamed PixArk or nothing. He did throw a bone to Ark Survival Evolved. He was like, well, I'm going to do a stream to teach you guys how to take amazing screenshots in Ark Survival Evolved. You know what I mean? Because that's like his part of the Forest of Ark, is the whole videography and the videos and stuff. He threw a little bone out there, you know, but all week long it's rocking out Far Cry 5, and I just thought that was hilarious. I thought that was actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, but there's a lot that could tie into that. It's the stuff we've mentioned, and it's something you think about. It's something he sees and works on like every week, for week after week after week. So maybe he's just kind of burned out on it. It's like, oh,
but
look, another.
He doesn't stream it every week. You know what
I know,
mean?
but he like the content, seeing it and reading about it. Like he's steeped in it for so long, kind of thing. Like there's no escaping it while he's at work. So when he gets home, does he really want to jump back in and start?
Well, I get what you're saying. He totally ought to be able to stream whatever the heck he wants, you know?
Yeah, but on the flip side, it's not like he streams while he's at work. He's the video dude. It's not like he's not the
Well, no, I mean,
devs.
I'm not talking like streaming or even playing.
Or
It's just,
manager.
you know, he has to see and hear about and talk about the same stuff while he's at work.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of like don't want
that
to.
old adage, you know, a mechanic's car never runs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't want to take your work home kind of a thing. But
Yeah,
exactly.
then it's almost like, would you have a different Twitter or would you have a different stream? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because then all of his stream, you can tell because when he streams out Far Cry 5, it's like 2 or 3 people like his tweets, you know? He doesn't have like a lot of...
And then you get 40 comments. Server blah, blah, blah is not working. It hasn't been...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Server 4 has been off for 2 hours.
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
still.
no bones. I just thought it was an interesting thing. I still think it's interesting. I'm not buying that he doesn't want to take his work home. I just think it's interesting.
Cricket.
So I wish that we could move water blocks.
I think that'd be cool.
In Minecraft, you could do it. You could make buckets, and you could pick up water in a bucket, and then you could take it, and you would put the water down, and it would be a new water block, and so you could put the water where you wanted it. Partially that was really important there because in order to grow crops, it had to be next to water. Here we have our taps that we can do. So, you know, I guess it's not as important, but still it'd be nice to be able to, you know, build the exact water feature that we want to go into our base, especially because you can have like waterfalls and stuff like that with it. If you know, you can build up a fountain and you put a water block on the top, and you kind of have the waterfalls coming down to make the fountain and all that. So it was just really nice. I'm seeing a comment by doing that you can spawn water blocks in if you're an admin, but you know the normal person can't do that, unfortunately. Think
of all the cool bases and landscapes you could make with that. You know, the ponds and, like you said, waterfalls. You know, really
because
cool.
I had made a couple fountains like that where you make a big circular type thing, and then you have, you know, a built-in like a pyramid type thing, and you drop the water on the top, and the way the water physics, you know, goes down, it creates that fountain feature and all that. So it was neat. So I hope that they give us the abilities to use buckets for that. And with the same thing, you could also pick up lava and move lava in Minecraft, which you could use it to troll, because if people had like wooden buildings, you could drop lava on their buildings and it would burn them down.
Oh my goodness.
You could also make traps with lava, because you could have switch plates where it would open up a trap door, and if there's a lava block above that, and you know, then they step on it and they get hit by lava. So you could do some neat things like that as well. Not only to protect your base, but also if you wanted to go through and make some type of community, you know, dungeon, labyrinth, challenge arena.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can do something like that, because that's what a lot of people did. They would make these challenge arenas, and, you know, you go through the right door and you're fine. You go through the wrong door and you get lava in the face. So cool. I hope they put the ability to do those things in, as well as you were able to make basically unlimited water blocks. If you had the way that their coding is if you had basically like 3 blocks in a row, and the left and the right one were both regular water blocks. If you grab the water out of the center, they would flow back in there, and it would make it a full water block instead of, right now, if you start digging away from water after it hits like 6 blocks, then it trails away. But so you could make as much water as you wanted. You couldn't drain the ocean unless you really wanted. Unless you definitely tried to do it. So that was neat. So they're together. So hopefully they put all that in there. And I think Blue agrees with me.
So yeah, I agree with Cricket on the water thing. It's super annoying. When you go to make like a block of clay, because you need clay for certain things, you throw it into like a water pond or something, and when you pick it back up, that voided space becomes this like weird mesh, and it's obvious that the water physics were trying to fill in that space, but since it wasn't an actual water block, it just kind of dips in, so it looks a little weird, so it kind of messes up that pool of water for you.
Yeah.
Another thing I wish they would change is probably the dino balancing is a big one. I've lost a lot of tames to certain things that I personally felt should not have been able to kill me. For instance, I borrowed Felloon's beautiful 100 and something spirit wolf on the official server. Went to go attack a level 5 Ceropod, aka Bronto. And it destroyed the Spirit Wolf. Like, it wasn't instant, but the Spirit Wolf couldn't do nothing to this Bronto, and it was ridiculous. So
yeah, that damage is weird. I was just looking at I took my Shadow Panther out just a little bit ago, and the normal hits are hitting for 80, and then the critical hits, that's all I can call them. I don't know what they're calling them, but apparently it's a critical hit of some sort. We're hitting for 240. And it seems like, well, and then the wild dinos have the same thing, but it feels like the crit chance for wild dinos is a lot higher than it is for, well, maybe not a lot higher, but definitely higher for the wild ones than it is the tame ones.
yeah, it's definitely very unbalanced.
All right, so to interrupt, I did hop in, and I did some Googling. You can spawn in water blocks. There are two types of water blocks. One is unusable. You can do nothing. And then there's another one that you can place. Same with lava and apparently some other stuff. Why are there 2 item IDs for one thing, and one works and one doesn't? I don't know.
I've noticed a few test IDs and stuff when I looked at the list and some other things.
Could be. That's so weird, though. I just tested it. It works. It does work if you do that. Huh.
What's the item ID for water?
603, and then lava is 604, so be very careful when you... getting a drink of lava is a little bit... It scalds you a little.
So does it put a water block in your inventory, and then you can place it down?
Yes, or your hotbar if you have an open spot. Same with lava.
That's what I assumed it would do.
Now, the difference is a water block cannot be used or placed. A water cube can be.
So if you have a link to where you found those item IDs, put it up on the show notes, because I'm just looking now at the link that I have for item IDs, and I just realized that basically from item number 601 to item 753 is not listed on this list. That's why I didn't see that stuff before. So
I agree. I'm looking at the same list. I just went through the Steam forms.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so I see that there's 150 item IDs missing in this list.
Yeah. It looks like survival servers have a pretty good thing for the admin commands. I'm going to see if they have the item IDs.
Okay. But I don't know what it's for.
All right, so who's next?
Green text.
Goonie.
Stuff that I think needs a little TLCs. I'd like to be a little tougher. I am so squishy in the game. And I'd like to be able to unclaim dinos. That is not in the game at all.
I think those are very valid desires, Goon, because I feel like we are really kind of squishy, too. I guess it depends, because we're not squishy against Phiomias or anything, but man, those raptors can kick our ass hardcore.
And
Even a Fioma can kick you when you first start up.
It's nuts. We definitely seem squishy.
And so even with armor, like, I mean, I've been collecting armor as I've been going through these dungeon runs, and I've got, steel bone armor, which is armor you have to be like level 70 to make, and I'm still getting my ass kicked when I'm alone. It's not as bad because I have a weapon, so I can usually kill the smaller things. But I mean, I'm not going to try taking on a Rex or a Carno, because even though my dinos, the Carnos are I haven't messed with them since we've had damage numbers turned on. But there'd be times when I have my Gargoyle who's got 1,200 hit points, and he can't go toe to toe with the Carno without having to run away and heal up, which I'm really surprised about. And but yeah, so I did a little faux sciencing on the single player for armor, and I spawned in some Ascendant Steelbone armor that gave me like 200 something armor value, which right now my character who has the stuff that I've collected only has 55 armor. So, granted, that's a lot higher than I had here, and it was reducing damage down to a third. So something that was hitting me for 15 went down to 5. But in that one, like I said, that was with Ascendant of like the highest level armor. And so yeah, it's definitely we are squishy in this game. But you don't lose all that much. I mean, there's stuff that you have in your inventory drops down you have to reclaim.
I think that's nice.
But as was said earlier, when you spawn back, you have your armor still, and you have all of your weapons that was in your hotbar.
Right,
so it makes
and I think
much
that
easier to recover.
Yeah, that definitely makes dying to a lot of stuff easier when you're not constantly losing all of your stuff.
Oh, and no durability.
No durability is nice.
Except on stuff like the lightning cap and the shields.
You do find people, though, still complaining for some reason in the forums about not losing all of your stuff when you die. And I'm like, shut up.
Yeah. I've seen some posts where it was like, it'd be really nice to have durability. I'm like, shut up.
If you want to lose your stuff when you die, then when you die, you
just
unequip your armor.
Your stuff.
or make it, unequip your armor, unequip your hotbar until you collect your body back. And then equip it again.
If you want to do
you have the same experience if you want that. But the rest of us are happy with the fact that I was far away, and do I really care about the stuff that's in my inventory, to try to get back there? Maybe not.
I mean, you guys remember how long it took Foe to find some copper?
Yeah.
The copper where we are right now is not,
It's like everything, it takes forever to find it, but then you start swimming in it.
Agreed. All right, Felloon, what do you think needs a little bit more TLC or be removed from the game?
Well, this was probably the biggest complaint, and this just kind of supports what Goon is saying, but when I was leveling up, and it's like, okay, so what, should I just level up my stats like you do in Ark, or what should I do? And that's kind of the way I approached it. But in the end, it felt like, when I was leveling up my melee stat, it just felt like, I don't know, however that gets translated into the game, it's underrepresented. So, I mean, it just feels like I don't harvest anymore. I don't kill the dinos any faster. It just feels like it's really an unimportant stat. I don't know. So that just makes it all that much worse when you're squishy. So you can't even be a glass cannon. I don't know. It's just.
And we
they need to do something with that.
We cannot be a glass cannon, and we also cannot be fast. We cannot be a fast glass cannon. We can't even add points into our speed right now because it's not even an option.
And then also, I guess a complaint that I have is there's no mind wipe potions or mind wipe brews yet.
Wow, yeah.
Or at least not that I've seen. I'm not sure if there's really any craftful stuff except the engrams that you actually learn. I had tried making kibbles, and that didn't work. I haven't exactly tried to make some of the enduro stews and all that stuff that we had in Ark, but based upon the stuff that you can and cannot put into the cooking pot, if they have them, the recipes are different. But what I was thinking is when I get to a point where I really want to mind wipe, because I do kind of want to mind wipe right now, but it's not a huge deal. I feel like I kind of wasted some points in crafting speed because I was kind of hoping that we were going to have blueprints for better weapons and stuff that the crafting efficiency would make it better, like an Ark. But I don't know that they actually drop better craft, like journeyman, hatchets or anything like that, recipes, because I don't even know how you would use those. Because right now the only recipe, the only blueprints you get is for the kind of neat looking structures. And when you get those blueprints, you use them and then you learn the engram. So you don't actually put it into a crafting station. So I don't know how you'd even use like a journeyman hatchet blueprint if they do drop. So I want to get those, those however many points it was I put in crafting speed back, and that'd be nice. And this like that. So what I might do when I get high enough is might just kill this character, create a new one, and then just admin command myself to the amount of experience that I had as a mind wipe potion. And since there's there doesn't seem to be any dino breeding. I didn't see anything when I tried to breed 2 pteranodons. So there's no imprints. So I won't lose that. As long as I get back in the tribe, I shouldn't lose any of that. I think anything that I don't think I'll lose anything at this point if I would recreate a new character. So that will be my mind wipe.
And you added a little bit more, Mr. Felloon?
Yeah, I kind of covered it a little bit, I think, when Blue or somebody was talking. But, now that we can see, now that our damage numbers are turned on our server, you can see the differences. And it just feels like the crit chance is higher for wild dinos versus our tame dinos.
And you said that was something similar that was in Dark and Light, right?
Yeah, to me, this game plays a lot like Dark and Light, and but it has Ark elements to it more so than Dark and Light. So okay. I mean, the taming, for example, the dinos obviously are Ark dinos. The way that you tame them is obviously an Ark thing. The sleepy arrows is obviously an Ark thing. We don't have magic sleepy arrows, but
right.
That's just kind of the blending of the two, I think.
Uh-huh.
So, because the Dark and Light taming, they had hook arrows, where it was an interesting taming mechanic where you'd shoot them and then plant the hook in the ground, and then the moment the tether broke, they would gain Constitution, which would be Ark's torpor. So, it's just, I think I lost my train of thought, but it just feels like it plays a lot like Dark and Light.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking about how the wild dinos still seem to pack a punch compared to the tamed ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the early days of Dark and Light, it was like, man, if you could get a panther tamed, you were just like king of the map. But it was getting one tamed that was hard because, again, you're squishy. And they would just one-shot you or two-shot you, and depending on their level. Same thing with tames. I had tamed a unicorn, and I literally kept it locked up because I didn't want some jackwagon panther come over and just look cross-eyed at it and kill it.
Right.
Just the taming on the unicorns on Dark and Light was. It just seemed like it took forever.
Uh-huh.
So.
All right. Well, I'm right after you, Felloon, and one of the things that I feel like needs some TLC or to be removed is the toxic trolling that can be done on PvE. I think it's utterly ridiculous. I think we could all agree. We all started our game on official, and we all learned really quickly that even on official PvE, you can be a very large douche to anyone. I just feel like you should not be able to put foundations on top of someone else's stuff, or like 6 blocks away. I hate that. I feel like they're just stepping on themselves. They're getting in the way of themselves. You know, you make a great game, you make a fun game, and then you put something in the game that makes it not great and not fun, and it doesn't add up in my book. I'm like, why would you do that? It has no place. And their answer is, use the soil marking system that they added. And they added the soil marking system on freaking March 29th. It is April 7th. Like, it had just been added in on March 29th. Like, it's nothing like this is something they've had from the very beginning when PixArk decided to come out. No, it was announced on March 29th on their PixArk news, and it said, in PixArk, we've introduced the brand new soil privilege marker. Let's take a look at what it does and how you can use it.
and so you're saying that? I'm just looking at it right now.
So dumb.
And so there's 3 of them. There's a level 1, a level 2, and a level 2.
Oh, nice.
Now, those.
Interesting. Interesting.
The one at level 35 says soil privilege marker level 2. The one at level 55 says soil privilege marker level 2.
It's ridiculous.
Hackers.
And so this is the weird thing. So the soil privilege marker is a way to stake your claim on a pioneering server. And that's their word for PvE. It was Fury for PvP, and a pioneering server is PvE. By placing a marker, you can create a zone where other players cannot place their own blocks. What? So
when I my character first spawned into the official server, I get down, I see this dodo, I'm like, I'm gonna go kill that because I want some meat. So I go kill it, and I get some meat out of it. And, okay, I need a campfire. I build a campfire, put the campfire up, put the dodo meat in there. I see another dodo. I turn around to go run it. Some jackwagon comes over, opens my campfire up, steals the meat and the wood out of it, and leaves.
Yes.
I'm like, really?
And then that reminds me that
a pioneering server fell. It's player versus environment. That's what PvE is. I don't think that other player was environment, unless it was a shrub stealing meat from your campfire. That shouldn't be a thing. Shouldn't be a thing.
And so that actually reminds me that nobody put about it anywhere that I saw in our show notes. The fact that when you drop a box down, it defaults to unlocked.
Yes. It should just be locked.
They fixed that issue like 2.5 years ago in Ark.
Yes.
To make it where you drop it down and it defaults to locked.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's called fixed.
Yes, that's called fixed. That's called fixed. So just, heads up, if you're playing PixArk and you drop your stuff on any server, really, Fury or Pioneering, you have to pin your shit because people just get up in your business and take it. And apparently nobody knows that because nobody knows that. You didn't know it. And then everybody in global, they didn't know it. You know, it's weird. It's like, come on. If you're going to have Pioneering and Fury, make it what it is, PvE and PvP. You know?
Yeah, because that whole, it not being locked by default is
very
what
PvP.
started the entire story that I'm going to bring up later.
Exactly.
Maybe that's one of those things that got lost in translation between
yes.
Wildcard and Snail.
Yes,
games.
Exactly. So you can learn what they call a soil privilege marker at level 15 with upgraded versions learned at 35 and 55. These upgrades increase the size of your claimed land. So pretty much until you're level 15, you are shit out of luck. You cannot build a place to call your own without some jackwagon coming up in your business and messing it up. Which really strikes me as a WTF moment, because if you want people to word of mouth, spread your game, share your game, buy your game, why are you making the first 15 levels of your game ridiculous? Don't you think that you shouldn't let people be trolled to the point that they don't want to play your stupid game? Why are you making the line of demarcation so ridiculous? You gotta grind out to level 15 to then stake your claim, and they don't really even make it that known. They don't, in the tutorial, which is cool. We forgot to add that. This game actually has a tutorial where Ark did not, and pretty much still does not. And this game does. It has like a walkthrough, hit this button, this does this, hit this button, this does this, you should do this is this. Like, it's really kind of cool. But what they don't say is like, you know, this is very important and sorry about your luck. Make a crap shack until you're level 15 and then invest in your area, you know, because you can't even protect your land until 15. I don't understand. It just seems like it's bad marketing for me.
Yeah, because that whole thing, that now I think about it, so, you know, the way that they have the biomes set up is all the rally points are nice, safe biomes. You know, there's
let's be honest. There's a freaking ghost dragon that haunts the shit out of the starting zones.
Well,
let's be honest. Because I haven't seen a ghost dragon in the higher zones.
That
They're
depends
all
on the
down in little
procedurally
people zones.
That depends on the procedurally generated area, what's next to
Two
it.
servers I've been on have had those damn ghost dragons.
So the starter zones, they don't have anything that spawns that is dangerous.
Except for the ghost dragons.
But everything around it is dangerous. You're either going to have like dark woods, you're going to have magic woods, you're going to have snow biomes. All of them are dangerous, so you're going to have to craft your initial stuff in the starter zone where everybody else is crafting their stuff, and then you can't protect your stuff until you're level 15. So if I come on, I want to try the game out. I only have an hour. Oh, let me build something and log out. It's going to be gone. You know, when I log back in. Because anybody can just come in and just wreck the stuff up. As well as also, do they still have at the lower levels that you're gonna where it pops up saying you are too weak, you will die in 6 hours of being logged off. I know that it gets rid of that at a certain point. I don't know if it's still there for the low levels or not. Does anybody else know that? Do you remember that?
I think Luminon turned it off, right?
I'm not. I have a. There was a. I don't know. I don't know for certain. There is a button that turns off killing idle players, but I don't know for certain if that meant like it was treating people who were logging off as. I don't think it is because there was a prompt. I think that's a setting that they may have eliminated. I don't know though. I know somebody said after like level 40 they didn't see it anymore.
Yeah,
level
correct.
30.
I saw that it was going up. Like when it first started, like at the lower levels, you know, the first night that I played it, whatever level I hit, it said basically after 6 hours you will be dead.
Right.
And
yes.
so, okay, well,
I saw that.
It's like take all my stuff off, put it all in a box because I'm gonna be dead and I don't want to lose my stuff.
Right.
And then as I was higher level, like maybe
it never came up
30s,
again.
No, it came up and it said you'll be dead in like 1 day.
But I logged into official today and I didn't get that notification when I logged out.
Are you still a baby in there?
I don't know what level I am. I think I'm higher on Luminance server than I was over there.
Okay. But yeah,
I didn't get any notification of any time period. So.
Okay, like I said, I did notice when I was mid-level that it was now a day instead of 6 hours, and then it was somewhere around level 40, I think it was level 40, was when it stopped giving it completely.
So I know on the official server, like you all had like 6 hour timers. I ended up pumping a bunch of stats into my health, and I know my timer was a lot higher than everybody else's. I know I wasn't higher level than most.
Was it health or was it food?
I pumped it into health. I
did it into food, and I noticed mine went from 6 hours to a day.
Yeah. What it was is your character would slowly hunger while you're offline, and you'd starve to death. So either or, if you added more food and then ate, it gave you more time because you had more food, or if you gave yourself more health, it took longer for you to die.
That makes a lot of sense.
That being said, I have noticed the past 2 times I've logged on to this server, my character has been low on health. Even though I've been inside a building, so I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Full health, full food, but your health is like...
And it's like you're knocked out?
You're broken.
Yeah.
Unless someone's going around to everybody's base and...
I'm innocent. I know you're all looking at me, but I'm totally...
Do we have blood packs here?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think so, and that's one of the spawn codes. That is in-game, but not in-game.
Why do I feel eyes looking at me again?
The soil privilege marker, I feel like, because I'm still in my complaining session, that I just feel like the juice is not worth the squeeze. Like, the amount of space that you get for actually activating these things, they force you into questing to even put fuel into your soil markers. So it's like they made a sandbox kind of a survival game, but then they're kind of forcing you to do quests in order to activate your soil marking system. And then they kind of throw you a bone because every soil marking system you have gets a little bit bigger. And I just feel like they're still not very big. So I just don't like them. I think that in a PvE environment, I feel like it's very claustrophobic. I feel like they're putting the carrot on the stick and they're kind of forcing you into the direction they want you to play the game. And if you don't play by their rules, they're just going to leave you to the whimsy of the dirt-to-dirt randos that want to completely dig under your base, because that's the whole the whole part of our complaint is that without these soil markers, players literally on a PvE, player versus environment, you are not just going up against your environment, you're going up against other players. So it is like wiping for your poop. Wiping before you poop, it does not make any sense. It makes 0 sense. So, like, if you think you're going to log in onto a PixArk PvE server, think again. You're not going up against the environment. Some dude or some chick is going to dig underneath your base. It can break into your crevices. It can break down some of your structures. They can build right on top of your stuff. They can build right next to your stuff. They can entirely encase your entire little house or hut while you're offline. There's nothing stopping them. Nothing. Unless you finally hit level 15, and then you finally unlock a soil marking system, and then you finally do the quest to fill the soil marking system. It is just ridiculous. I'm so irritated by it. I think I'm more irritated by this than I am about the character limit in global chat. This is my beef right here. So I just think it's stupid. I feel like it has no place in PvE right now.
They did address it a little bit, and you can get some of the license certificates, whatever they're called, from drops. They're from killing creatures, but even then, you don't get many of them.
Right, and but it doesn't last for very long either.
I think it's like 1 hour per
it's
certificate
so
or something like that, which doing a quest seems to give you 10. So it's like, yeah, it means you have to have a minimum of 2 or 3 quests per day. You know,
to keep your stuff
free. That's if you can keep all of your stuff within the limit of just one marker. Otherwise, you might need 2 or 3 or 4 markers, depending on the size of your base. But yes, they did look at it. They made some change, but yeah, I agree. It's
just dumb.
It's not.
So yeah, I've yet to think of why they even need this to exist in PvE at all. I think like they could change how it's used for like larger tribes that have the manpower to keep these markers fueled to allow them to like take over additional area or something. I don't know. But I feel like it is ridiculous in its current state. And also, official servers are already a lag fest right now. I logged into our official that we started playing on. Like, our little area that we moved to is okay. If you go back to, like, a starting rally point, it is horrible.
A lag fest.
It is. Yeah. Have you guys tried it, too? It is unreal, the amount of lag on a freaking game that doesn't I can expect this off from Ark because the graphics are so amazing that you would have to lower it. And
the ground looks like Swiss cheese.
Thank you. I had to lower my graphics to the lowest setting on a freaking Minecraft-based type of a pixel, voxel, whatever game to even move about in the rally points on official server. It was horrendous.
So I'm wondering, there's generally when you're playing a game like this, an online game,
you have to like load into these areas.
You have
blah,
two
blah,
different.
blah.
You have 2 different types of lag you can get.
Right.
You can get the lag based upon the data that is being sent from the server to you, and you have the lag of your computer actually having to churn through and rendering the things. I don't think we're having the second type of lag because of how simplified the rendering is, but because the system is, every single block it has to keep,
exactly.
It has to keep tabs on.
And it is horrible.
Every single block,
it is worse
within
than
this world,
Ark.
It has to know, what type of block is this, that's here. Is it owned by anybody? Where are all the creatures? But that's everything. But with Ark, the world, it doesn't have to keep track.
The map is the map. It doesn't change. Exactly.
Was this a thing in Minecraft? Was this so horrible in Minecraft?
Early on, it was. But they fixed it fairly quickly.
That these dudes can't do differently.
Major server optimizations.
It is horrible. The servers need some TLC because it is absolutely atrocious. The game has not been out for a little over a week. I literally would walk, stop, be frozen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Walk, stop, be frozen. 5, 4. And it was just like, what? I had to go find a ghost dragon in the starter zone to kill me to get me out of there. It was ridiculous. It was horrible.
Now, I saw this coming, even with the server that I'm running. I know that and this is why I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of updates and changes on players' side. I think that the server host, the people that are hosting their servers, are complaining to them because it's being so demanding. Our server, like day 3 with 4 people logged in, was pushing 98% of the core processor CPU usage, which is insane considering Ark barely ever peaks over 50.
Right.
And was using over 11 gigs of RAM.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Ark usually pushes like 2, maybe 3, peaks at 4.
Right.
But it's just what Cricket was saying. On Ark, it has to worry about player structures, things that you build in place.
Right.
PixArk,
The land
every
is not moving.
single piece is a structure. The whole map is.
That's what's going to make this thing hit a wall. And this is also probably why games like Portal Knights are not on servers. It's only available in single player and co-op.
Right, because
play Portal Knights right now on a server with multiplayer options and sandbox and open world. Like, I was like, why did Portal Knights release? I think the quality of the graphics are better than PixArk, but there was not the option to have servers, and now I totally see why. These guys
it requires
a lot.
Yep, it requires a lot, and then they have to optimize the crap out of it because
it doesn't.
I don't know what their server agreement is, but you're pushing like huge usage on the CPUs, and that runs the temperature up. They have to run cooling. I mean they're already running all this stuff, but it gets to be extremely expensive, and I think that we will not see a whole lot of changes in game until they optimize everything on a server side, because and I have noticed the past week we had at peak, I think we had like 7 or 8 people online at the same time doing things, and we are down to an average about 4.5 gigs of RAM, and the CPU usage is down to about a peak of 70 versus peaking regularly at 90 something. So they are working on that. I know that they are. With each patch that come out, those numbers drop significantly. So I think that's what they're really focusing on right now. We won't see major changes to the gameplay, I don't think, until they get all this sorted.
Yeah, it's unreal. I was astonished, like within a little over a week's time of checking in to our official server and stuff. I was like, oh my god, this is unbearable. I had to get out. And I was like, thank you, Luminen, for getting an official server for us to play in, because it is night and day. Night and day. This is horrible.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and then also my last complaint is the Brontos, or what they like to call the Sauropods, should not be the new Gigas, or like Blue referenced earlier, the Titanos. I think it's ridiculous. The clipping that these dinos are doing is just like while you're offline, just wiping out for no reason. I don't understand. There's nothing to aggro. It's not like you have dinosaurs attacking them or species X or anything. Your base is just chilling, and this Bronto somehow is taking out your chests, killing your tribe mates, killing your dinosaurs. It is just ridiculous. And the fact that now the tribe log hasn't worked for like a week now. So we don't even know why we're missing things, why we're dying. Like, we don't have any idea because the freaking tribe log isn't even working right now. So
yeah, because that was one of the things I always did when I would log into a server, is I would look at the tribe log and see
we don't even have that option.
If anything died, or if any tribe members destroyed structures that I wanted.
Yep, super frustrating. So we are moving into tip time. Here we go.
All right. So I shared in our awesome little tip segment here. In Minecraft, you learn a few no-nos that are that many are now learning here in PixArk, such as never div. No, gosh, tongue-tied. Never div.
That was close.
Yeah. Never dig straight up or down. The reasoning for this is some people are finding if you dig straight up and you happen to dig into lava, well, there's nowhere to go. And if you're digging straight down and you dig into a huge open cavern that's underground and fall to your death.
It's also not just lava, but also if you dig into sand or gravel that falls on top of your head.
Flint.
Yeah. Another big tip that I can give you is to, when you're digging underground, to listen, be very careful about what you hear. You can hear water running. You can hear lava bubbling. You can hear mobs. You'll hear like a creature walking. If you hear that, chances are you're about to break into an underground cavern. If you're mining down, you could fall to your death. If you're mining out, you might be face to face with a zombie or whatever other kind of critters are underground here. So when you're underground, you can definitely need to be listening. That's all I got.
Cool.
All right. So my tip is building up against mountains is a pain. If you're going to build up against the mountainside, make sure your walls, aka gates, are high enough to block critters from jumping under your base. Try going to the top of the mountain cliff and jumping off to see if you can fly into your base. Because guess what? If you can do it, so can they. And how about you, Goon? What tips you got?
Mine's just as simple. Just if you're out and you're putting pipe down, use foundations and walls and block it in. I had the sauropod just kept walking over and smashing mine every time I walk over it, so I just enclosed it in. It's simple to do, and it saves you a lot of time in the long run. And also got to watch out for those little crickets, because those things can do a lot of damage.
Don't we know it?
Okay. Are you done, Goon?
Yaza?
Okay. So my tip is build your base underground to keep away from sauropod damage. Some creatures will not attack you while you're. And here's another one. Let me expand on that underground thing a little bit. What I noticed is I put my first little hobbit hole, we're calling them, about 3 blocks down from the surface. And at this, let's see, is it 3 or 4? It's 4 blocks down. So at the first couple of levels down, I'd log in. I put some stairways up, and they had damage on them just about daily. So and that was before getting rid of sauropods in Tartar areas. And there was always sauropods, like, for whatever reason, decided that if you put a building up, they've got to stand on it. Because I don't know what the deal is, but they do. And but after I got about 3 or 4 blocks from ground level down, I wasn't seeing any more damage. So I mean, some of us were like logging in with damage to our characters, or missing crafting stations, and all kinds of things. And it was just luck on my part. I just wanted to build underground, and it worked out. But so, and another thing is, when you're in the magic forest or the magic forest areas, some of those creatures will only attack you when you're standing on like magic soil or cursed soil. It's really kind of strange. That's something like when Goon and I first spawned into the Luminance server. He's showing me. He says, "Hey, look! Was it a panther, Goon?" I was just standing. I mean, he was on one block. The panther was right next to him, and he's just standing there. And nothing was happening. So it was pretty cool. So to expand on that, what I had started doing once I was going to go into the magic areas and try to find some magic creatures to tame, I started building like an 8x8 or a 10x10. I just take regular dirt with me, dirt blocks, and just put some safe zones up. I could stand there and scope things out. And now there's still things that will attack you, but it's just amazing, that mechanic. It's just amazing. They could be standing 1 block away from you and not do anything.
Yeah, I did notice after someone had, I think you had pointed out before, that the biome system definitely has, I guess you can call it, issues where things act a lot differently if they're outside of their normal biome. Where if you can get them to chase you out of their biome, a lot of times then they're so involved with trying to get back to their own biome that they'll just stop attacking you.
Right.
They'll kind of just be trying to haul ass, get back into the magic forest.
And one of the kind of the cool things, like leveling, found out that killing werewolves levels you up like crazy.
Oh yeah.
So that's what Tuxedo Badger was doing. So I'm like, okay, that's another idea I'm going to steal from him. But I didn't have a griffin like he did. And so I'd run one into my trap and then just run in there with my sword. It was just an iron sword. It took forever to kill it, but I just stand in there right next to it and club him with my iron sword until he died. And he wouldn't hit me. And we're standing on bedrock, you know. And so it just was kind of, you know, I don't know if that's unintended or intended or what, but I mean, that works.
That's why it took so long. You were clubbing him with your sword. You're supposed to be stabbing him with it.
Well, you know, like I said before, it seems like melee doesn't do anything, neither does an iron sword.
Well, looking at the damage numbers, my melee does a lot more damage than even my gargoyles do. At least with the damage and the weapons I have.
And something's really weird, because I will hit, like with my copper sword, I'll hit a Phiomia and it was like 40-some damage. But then I hit a raptor and it's like 7. Like, it's just weird.
Could he
because of the armor of the dino, maybe?
And maybe even mate
So
boosted.
I just did 98 damage with my iron sword on a Phiomia.
Yeah, I feel like the Phiomias have like 0 arm, like they just take maximum damage. Where these other dinos, it's like, I guess I'm not used to that. I'm used to the weapon doing X amount of damage no matter what you hit and not reverse. It feels like it's reverse.
So granted, I have a 174% journeyman steelbone sword, but I just
granted you have this magicalness that you did not get deteriorated from your storage box.
I dealt 668 damage to a thorny boar.
Yeah, those thorny boars, they're pussies. They're just like the freaking Phiomias.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I tamed one. I was just using him to grab magic wood, which he actually works very well with. But then he got murdered by some shadow panthers. So I'll have to tame another one.
Well, Cricket, since we're tribe mates, you need to take me on a ruins run through that.
Yeah, you slacker.
Which I guess that can lead into, I guess, the first tip that I have here, which is blocking halls to kill stuff. So, like I've said before, we basically have to kind of think in Minecraft terms versus Ark terms when you're adventuring. Since you have the blocks and you can place blocks down basically anywhere you want, an easier way to keep yourself safe is to use that to your advantage. A lot of the creatures you're fighting are too big to fit, either between a one wide opening, or they can't fit underneath a block that's at the second elevation. But if you have a spear, you can stab them from that range. So when I was going through the pyramids, I was at if anybody goes in there, you'll find at regular intervals at a lot of the hallways or the doorways, I would put blocks, at the second elevation level all the way across, and then I would just crouch down and just stab the hell out of the creatures as they're trying to get at me, and so they can't hit me for the most part. All the things in the pyramid couldn't hit me because they didn't have the range to. When I've tried the same thing with like the ice bears, they have a much further reach, so they can actually hit you. But all the mummies and the dung beetles and the gem spiders couldn't hit me. Well, the dung beetles could go underneath, but they were easy enough. But it was definitely a nice way to kill the things, and going through and stabbing all those things by yourself instead of on the back of a dino gets you a lot of levels. I went through the pyramid one time, and I think I gained at least 7 levels just killing things, as well as getting a ton of gems from the gem spiders. And I probably opened up 7 or 8 chests that gave me, and it gave me mostly ammo. It seems like I guess the different ruins are at different levels. Like the coyote ruins that was mentioned earlier, they seem to be the lowest level ones. The pyramid seems to be kind of mid-level. I was getting, I think it was the iron bone spears as drops from the spiders, or no, it's drops from the dung beetles, I think. And I was getting a lot of pistol ammo of the different flavors with the fire ammo and all that, as well as shotgun ammo, mostly in there. It wasn't until I ventured my way up into the ice castles that I was getting the steel bone stuff. Which is the level 70 stuff. So it definitely seems like the ruins have different levels associated with them, and but you can use the same type of technique for the most part on killing things. Is you make that protective box, and then you just stab them with a spear through it because it has such high range to it. So that's my first tip for doing the dungeons, and for just you can do it in general. It's just harder to do out in the wild because you don't have those natural walls to begin with that you can block in. Another nice tip that I have that is real nice, and it's kind of one of those features that it feels like they pulled out of some of the mods, was the fact that your crafting stations have the ability to pull resources from containers nearby. Most crafting stations, if you hold in E, there's an option that says something like enable show nearby range, and it shows you how far away from them they can pull items. So if you put your chests and your boxes nearby to your workstations, you can throw all your materials in the chests, and then the workstations can get to them, which is handy since you can't put any materials in the workstations themselves. So just keep that in mind when you're building your crafting area. You probably don't want to have all your crafting benches right next to each other. You'd probably want to do something like workbench, a couple chests next to that, maybe magic workbench, and that way the chests in the center, in between them, can be shared materials between them, and all of that. Your mortar and pestle and your smelters, it can't pull straight from them, so you probably want to put them somewhere where you can easily pull the ore off of there, the ingots off there, and then put them into your boxes, but they don't have to be next to your workstations. So just something to think about as you're planning out how you want to build your house and all that. I seem to have so many tips here, and there's a ton that I didn't think of. Another one is
we will have another episode, Cricket. Don't you worry.
I will have.
Don't you worry.
Sure. So a trike, I highly advise getting one as soon as you can. I believe it's level 30 that you can tame it.
The hollow trikes or the normal trikes?
The hollow trikes.
Hollow ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they're great for just collecting berries in general. So to get those narco berries to make your sleepy arrows, to get your mejo berries to passive tame your herbivores, to get your tinto berries to make your tinctures or your styptics, basically your healing potions, is nice. But also they're nice for collecting when you can make your own resources on demand, basically planting trees. And then you have easy access to wood. So I generally, would plant 20 or 30 trees and let them grow, and they'd be right near my base. And it's, I need some wood. Let me jump my trike over there, destroy all the trees, which would give me a lot of wood. It would also give me a lot of seeds, and I'd replant the trees. So the next time I need wood, I would have trees there. And then you don't have to go and try searching all around the area to find them. The same thing can be true with your crops. There's a ton of different types of crops you can grow, whereas Ark just had the berries and then your vegetables. You have all those here, but you also have a lot of the magical crops you can grow. You have wheat that you can grow. There's a bunch of different crops that you can grow in this game. But again, use your trike to collect from your crops, because you not only get the crops, but you also get a lot of the seeds back as well, so you can replant them. Because farming in this game is different than in Ark. It's more like in Minecraft, where when you use your seed, it essentially gives you a block and you plant it straight into the ground. You're not planting it into crop plots. Looking at the spawn codes, looks like they had small and medium crop plots, but they either haven't fully implemented them yet, or they decided to take them out. Because even spawning them in, you couldn't actually use them. That was something I tested today. So you can't just, like in Ark, where you have the crop plot and you would put the fertilizer and the berries in there, and then it'll just keep growing berries. Every time you harvest your crops, it harvests the entire thing, and you have to plant it again in order to make it grow. At least that's the only way I've been able to figure it out so far. And if you harvest it by hand, you only get, like with narco berries, I was getting maybe 8 to 10 narco berries, whereas when I was harvesting with the trike, I was getting like 30 narco berries plus possibly seeds from each plant. So
it would be nice if it was more like Ark in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like it should have been, but when they have the crop plots, maybe they just need to fully implement it. Right now, the only thing the crop plots are used for is the large ones are used for the aggressive turret plants, as far as I found. Another, I guess it would be a punching trees tip, is if you're going to be crafting your buildings with stone, instead use fine stone. All you need to make fine stone is the DIY hut, which I believe is at like level 5 or something. It's a very low level engram to learn. It's level 7. It takes 25 wood, 12 rocks, and 12 clay, or 12 dirt rather. You build it, and then what it allows you to do is convert all of your stone structures, your stone floors, your stone walls, your ceilings, all into fine stone. It's a 1-for-1 conversion, so you don't lose out on any crafting materials. You just lose out on maybe a minute or two of time that it takes to craft it, but you get experience for that.
Right. In the early days, you get a lot of experience.
So when I was digging out all my holes, I was then turning all that stone into your walls, my floors, my ceilings, and then I was turning that all into the fine versions of it. As well as what it also allows you to do is get those things out of your inventory, and it puts them in this crafting station, which I think might have not unlimited, but it has a large number of slots in it where you don't have to have another box to put the stuff in. It'll stay there until you pull it out to use it. So it's another kind of cheap storage that you can use.
Yeah, and that workbench. Why can't we put anything in there?
It's annoying.
I'd
Same
like
with the freaking
the
campfire.
automatic pull-in feature, but
Yeah.
I want to be able to just put something in there as well.
Exactly, that would be so nice. The other thing related to the crafting and the fine stone lot is you need a lot more materials to build things than probably think about. Like I would be like, oh yeah, 100 walls is going to be plenty. It never is. I mean, because it's so many pieces. Like even a 5x5 is going to take 25. It's going to take 25 foundations. And it's going to take 25 ceilings, and it's going to take 20 walls per level of wall. If you want it 3 high, there's 60 walls. So it's it seems like you go through a lot more materials in this game than you would think about coming from Ark. I would constantly because I'm just spitballing to begin with, and it's like I'd build so many, and then I go back. Nope, I was nowhere near close. I need to make another 150 of these things. So just either if you're planning it out, make sure you plan it out, so you know about, how many you need. But always bring extra. Although placing stuff in the wrong area isn't that bad, because any foundation block or wall block you can just pick right back up. You don't have to destroy it and lose it out like you would in non-modded or under-modded Ark. I guess the last tip I have is when you're taming, it really only comes into account mid-level when you actually get the crossbow. You would think, because of Ark, and it even says, crossbows do more damage than bows, which they do if you're doing damage with standard arrows. If you're doing torpor to knock out tames, you want to use a bow. It does more torpor than crossbows for whatever reason. I don't know if it's intentional. I read about it or heard about it from the internet, and then I've kind of confirmed it, where I've tried knocking something out with the crossbow, and it's taken many more shots than it did with the bow.
Exactly. I've seen some YouTube videos of the same thing. They're like the bow is way more, it's more OP than the crossbow, which is not what we're used to at all.
And then, even if you look up on like the Gamepedia, which has very limited information, but it does have one thing it does have for almost everything I've seen is taming information for all the creatures. You can at least go on there and find out what they need to eat, which most things it makes sense. It's a kibble, which as far as I know doesn't exist. It's your prime meat, which is called thigh meat. Your cooked prime, your standard meat, your cooked meat, or it's your truffles, which is mushrooms you can get, which is kind of the best. It's kind of the prime meat for herbivores. And then after that, it's like your vegetables, and then it's your different type of berries. There's a few dinos, mostly the magical ones, that require something different. Like there's some that require, they want to eat gems, or the grounded up gems as essence, or they want to eat maybe mushrooms, only. I think gems is the only other alternate food that I've encountered. But yeah, so The Gamepedia does have some information, but even that one shows the number of shots you would need to knock it out. And it says, like, bow, it would take 5 shots. Crossbow, it would take 8 shots. So even they're reflecting the same thing. So use a bow, not a crossbow, to knock stuff out.
Sounds good. All right. My tip is, as a new player, not all dinos or creatures are created equal. Phiomias are easier to kill, like dodos, and low-level raptors are no joke. A level 50 Phiomia can be killed with, like, an arrow to the head, but a raptor will devour you before you get enough arrows into them to kill them if you do not get them out of your way. And then, like, some of the dinos you notice, like, they do have, like, a pattern to their attack. Like, they'll come at you, try to hit, like, if you can sufficiently kite them backwards, like just keep going back and kiting them and keeping them at bay, whether it's clubbing them or whatever. Like when they get ready to do their attack, like the Packy will try to headbutt you, so try to counter that like right away. But they'll run away and then they'll come back again. Like it's, you know, they're not all the dinos are created equal. Some of them are, you wouldn't. Their armor, like we were talking a little bit earlier, and the amount of damage your weapons do vary drastically. That's what threw me off. Was like, I'm just so used to a weapon having X amount of damage, and then seeing those numbers pop up. And when I see that I'm hitting something and I'm doing 40 some damage to one dino, but only 7 damage to the other, like I'm not used to seeing that. Like they're definitely tougher, and you know, they're just not created equal. So don't think that they are. If you're coming from the Ark world, they're not created equal at all. Like I feel like when I would attack a dino in Ark, like I don't feel like there was that much of a demarcation in the damage that I would do from one dino to the other. In PixArk, I feel like there is.
I felt like in Ark, like a lot of the dinos, they had different health pools.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, I feel like it's like something way different. Maybe
I agree
different
with you
armor.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, because like in Ark, you feel like you just have to hit them more, you know, like because of their health pool. But here it's like they have a resistance. There is some form of resistance that like the carnivores have over the herbivores, definitely. So don't go whacking on low level. Like if a raptor says it's level 1, that doesn't mean level 1 in Phiomia years. That means like level 400 in Phiomia years. A level 50 Phiomia is nothing. You would think a level 1 raptor is like, oh, that's just a level 1 raptor. Nope, not even the same ballpark. So just a tip for new players: don't get ahead of yourself when you see a level 1 raptor and think you can take it, because you can't until you get your
too comfortable in the
don't get too comfy. Not at all. So I think we're gonna be moving into story time. I don't know what this intro is. We'll try this one. This is where we are going to share a tale that has happened to one of us or all of us while we are rolling in deep into the Pix Ark. So, Mr. Cricket, you are first up.
So there are just so many stories that have happened even in this week. I mean, and most of them have all been just side-splittingly hilarious for us. Which one should I start with? Should I start with Felloon or with the cricket destruction?
I think Felloon is
Felloon.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Felloon was our first story to really come about. It goes back to what Esme has been complaining about with our ability to do PvP on PvE, and as well as just some of the learning curves that we've done with some of the ways that PixArk is different than Ark. So we started the game. We did not have our unofficial server up yet, so we all jumped onto an official server, and we spent some time going through collecting stuff, crafting stuff, dropping down boxes, creating a house and all that stuff. We even had our house locked up. We had the boxes that were outside. We had those pin coded. We had been collecting so much stuff that we dropped a few new boxes on the inside of our house, and some of us didn't know that you had to pin code the stuff, as well as we didn't think about it because it was inside the house. And so, and it's PvE.
I mean, technically, this is how we found out.
Yeah, and so it
Exactly.
was. So me and Blue were, we were doing stuff around the house, and I go into the house. I'd dropped a bunch of stuff in there. I'd dropped some of the primal bone pieces that you need to craft your bone armor. And I was like, I just unlocked the copper bone armor. I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna make this. So I go open up the box where the stuff was, and it's empty. I'm like, okay. I was like, Blue, did you grab all the stuff out of the boxes? It's like, no, I didn't do it. And I turn around, and looking right at me is some little jackwagon with some, foreign name with some, some accents in there and stuff. I'm gonna call him out. His name is Felloon.
Felloon.
And I'm looking. I'm like, how the hell did you get in here? And I see our door is open because we had just come in. And I'm like, did he seriously follow us in here and then somehow grab the stuff out of our boxes? And I look and I see it says the boxes are unlocked. I'm like, holy cow, he just stole all of our shit. So I close our door real quick to lock him in there. And, I ask him, why do you take our stuff? And his response is, give me copper pick. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? You're gonna sit here and steal my shit and then demand that I craft you this copper pick when it wasn't that hard to do it yourself. So I was going to be reasonable. I would craft him a copper pick. It's not that much materials. So I tell him to put the stuff back first, and of course he doesn't. So I was hoping to keep him locked in the house, but I don't know if one of our windows was open or whether the windows are unlocked.
This is how we found out you also had to pin code the windows.
Okay, so the windows are unlocked by default. So he was able to open up a window and crawl his skinny little ass out our window.
Oh my god!
And so now now I have no recourse. I'm like, well, what can I do against this? So I go and I look, and maybe 30 blocks away from us, I see this big rectangular shaped house, which is his place. And I was like, well, let's see what we can do to his place. So I start deciding I'm going to try to see if I can undermine it. And he had a big thing of water right next to it, so I'm going to give this jackass a moat. So I start digging all the dirt out from underneath his base, and I start trying to flood the underneath. And eventually he sees what I'm doing, so he goes over and starts digging up the dirt around our base. Yeah. So now we're having this contest, and I call out Blue, and so he starts helping and digging stuff out. And then Esme gets on, and she's like, what the heck's with our base? We have all these holes in our base. I'm like, there's a jackwagon over here stores stuff. And I may have escalated matters a little bit, but he started it, and I wasn't going to let it stand. So
eye for an eye.
So now it's 3 of us against this one jerk, and we're digging out his base. But then we noticed that his base, while it's big, it was probably about 25 long by 10 wide. It had no roof on it.
No roof at all.
So we decided we're going to try to fill up his base with dirt blocks.
Exactly. Because, it's working as intended. If they didn't want this to happen, then we wouldn't be able to do it.
Exactly. He must not have been level 15 and did his quest and got his soil, his pissing on his territory to mark his territory.
Stupid.
So we're digging out all the dirt from underneath his base and putting it back on top of his base.
Because that's what he did to our base. Really. It's like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, in my opinion.
Yeah, because actually, I think before we started filling up his base is when he had started
digging around
his foundations.
Yes, he put foundations right next to our base.
He started building them around our base. So I'm figuring our house was only like a 5x6. It wasn't that big.
It wasn't very big at all.
With not that many foundations, you can easily circle around this thing and make it so we can't access our own base. So that's what
what he was doing.
Started screwing with him as much as we could, and so we spent the next probably 2 hours just filling his place up with dirt as he's trying to dig out.
We were reciprocating
and
for like 2 hours.
And so as we keep doing it, then Esme was like, "Well, I'm going to keep him busy. You guys go find some place not in the newbie zone to move."
Yeah.
So I took some crafting materials and ventured off, went out to the desert and started our. Well, actually, I guess it was more. It was like right next to the desert. I think it was officially swamp. And started building us another place over there for us to live in. So we moved away from the newbie zone, but all because of this PvE.
It was ridiculous.
PvE that, I can't believe that you could do that stuff on this game.
Plopping down those foundations right next to our building, and then like us being able to dig underneath his house completely, so it looks like it's floating, and then like being able to place a bunch of dirt in his house and then putting our own foundations on top of the dirt. That's
we were able to somehow put our own foundations inside his house too.
So ridiculous.
But I don't know what allowed that, whether it was because we were putting it on dirt and not on foundations, but they definitely...
it's got to be like so many levels of dirt blocks that let you build a foundation.
Or,
since he had like a bucket house with like no roof.
I just remembered something before I forget. This is a little bit off the subject, but when you said putting dirt blocks down and foundations down, on one of the levels, and this is more of a tip, so we were trying to find a place to put our forge, and so we dug down and exposed some ceilings from a lower level, and at one point we were trying to figure out what was going on with this forge, and we thought, well, maybe it just sits on foundations. You can't place foundations on top of a ceiling, but what you can do is put dirt down on top of the ceilings and then put foundations down on top of that. A little out of the subject matter, but anyway, I just thought I would throw that in there real quick.
Absolutely.
Still relevant.
Still relevant.
Yeah, we did find it. Still didn't help the issue though. Industrial smelters are still just jacked up with their positioning.
Yeah, so pretty much like that story ended with him coming back at us and trying to enclose our house in, like from the outside. And then there was like 6 of us on at that time.
Yeah. And I guess we did finally get him stuck inside the house.
We finally did. We finally won.
In a permanent falling thing as we filled up with our house that he was in with foundation, so he couldn't get out.
We had to lock him in our house to keep him from trolling us so we could move to a non-newbie location. It was ridiculous that this should even be a thing. And
Goon, you made a great sacrifice.
So yeah, and Goon, the dude got stuck somehow on Goon's head, and we just encapsulate. I had to build walls around Goon with the dude trapped on top of his head because he was trying to infiltrate our house, and he got caught on top of Goon's head. So we had to make walls around them, lock them in, have Goon put all of his contents into the smithy or whatever so we could get it. So when he died, and then everything in his hotbar would stay, but like all the stuff he had in his inventory would go. So he put all of his inventory in. It was just ridiculous. A lot of nonsense that shouldn't even be possible, especially when you're inviting people into the game. Like, these seems like such basic things we shouldn't have to deal with.
And I don't get the thought process of these kind of people. I mean,
I don't get it either.
Looking back, was that copper axe really worth that trouble for you?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Well, he was also robbing everybody else in the starter zone. Like, there was people in chat talking about it.
Yeah, and people were coming over and watching what was going on because the guy was such a jackwagon to everybody. He was totally trolling. Yeah, you were right, Blue. I remember that now.
Yeah, and he had actually asked me for a copper axe a little bit before that as I was around, digging up my own stuff. And I told him, honestly, at the time, we don't have the materials for it because we had just started out.
Right.
And I had only just created my own copper stuff. We didn't have spare copper at that point. So I told him, I was like, I don't have spare materials for it. Sorry, I can't craft it. And then I guess he just figured that it's easier to sit there and try to stalk people and steal their shit than it is to gain a couple levels or to make your own mine and find your own copper. But
and in the end, I mean, helping people out, especially on PvE, is something that we do. I mean, it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Yeah.
But, just starting out, we were trying to get going too. And, he just... But that's kind of getting away from the main point, which is you should not be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to fix it that it doesn't require you to do a large upkeep on a normal basis to keep people from doing that.
Yeah, that's a huge downfall, especially in the PvE world. To me, it's ridiculous. I would rather have them limit the area that you can build on than have us try to protect a PvE area that we can build on. Like, if it's unofficial. Like, if they're worried... I was trying to think, like, why are they doing this? Are they worried about mega tribes or something? And, like, I don't understand. Like, why are they blending
one
PvE
thing
and
that
PvP together?
Well, I was wondering, it could be why that mechanic is there is because maybe it was one of those microtransactions plans type things that are mechanic they were trying to work into the game, where it's like, well, you got to spend $5 for 20 gems, and then
Yeah, it feels
5
very
gems will
mobile
buy
gamey,
you
doesn't it?
a license to hold your ground, and
Well,
I don't know.
or it might be their
I
way of
agree.
trying to combat the pillar spam that you see on official servers in Ark. Because if you want to essentially do pillar spam, you have to maintain it. You could put down these soil markers, but you have to maintain them in order to keep your demarcation.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's something like that you can still pillar spam if you want to go through the effort of keeping it up. You can't just drop pillars down, and as long as you log one every 7 days or whatever, you're fine, and you get to keep this whole big area. Maybe it's their attempt at trying to fix that stuff.
Well, hopefully we'll have more information.
Alright. So when I started up on Luminant server, I decided that I wanted to start off in my own tribe because I wanted to learn the game, and leveling and taming and whatnot. Sometimes when you're in a group with your new game, sometimes when you're in a group in your new game unlocking things, it can lose its magic because you kind of feel like you have nothing to do because your tribe mates have already done it all. I've had a lot of hard learning experiences due to this choice. My first base was at the base of the mountain. I basically built it at the base of a mountain, and I kept having things falling into my base, and it took me, I think, 2 to 3 complete dino wipes before I realized what was going on. And at that point, I ended up having to double stack my beast gates to keep things from jumping off the mountain into my base. So what ended up happening is I built beast gates around my entire area, and then I kind of added some rock blocks on top of those to try and build it up a little bit because creatures were still getting in. And then the next thing I know, a Gigantopithecus was chasing a spirit wolf, and they just fell into my base. And I just got done taming a couple pterodons, a couple phiomas, and a couple dodos because I was rebuilding from the last base wipe I had. And the Gigantopithecus fell in and proceeded to destroy all my brand new tames that I'd just gotten.
No!
And since they were all on neutral, they all attacked it as soon as I got hit.
Oh my goodness.
And that's when I found out I had to add more beast gates on top of the ones I already had.
So were you able to double stack them on top of each other then?
I had to do it on top of, so I'd put the beast gates up, and then I'd have to put a layer of rocks, like Fel had said.
Okay.
I think you could probably do maybe a layer of maybe foundations or something. But I used a layer of rocks, and then put gates on top of that.
Okay.
But shortly thereafter, I got attacked by a new enemy, aka the evil cricket. It's funny too because the day after I moved after that, I came back to where my old spot was, and I had my phiomas and dodos, they had disappeared after you did that, and then I came back and they were just laying on the ground. I'm like, where the hell were these a day or two ago? They were just in a knocked out phase.
Yeah, I noticed that.
After he did what? We should say what he did.
Well, go for it, Cricket. Let them know what you did.
Don't take 9 years. We have 7 minutes.
The whole story will come later, but essentially I learned the power that the admin command destroy structures did much more than I expected, and it destroyed every structure that everybody on the server had. Although
that were boxes and stuff, not every.
Although we did find that your base materials, your walls, your ceilings, your foundations are not considered structures for that command, but all of your dino gates and wall and doors are. So all those dino gates that Blue had just put down to circle his base all got destroyed. But also, more importantly, everybody's storage boxes and crafting stations all got destroyed. And if they were online and realized that they had 15 minutes to get the stuff, but it was early it was early evening, and there was only one or two people that were on, and so most people's things unfortunately did get wiped. So people are moving, based on that, or recovering. We are using admin commands as requested, to bring materials and stuff back. But yeah, it's.
In all fairness, the game is so easy to restart that it hasn't been a big deal at all. I wasn't even upset. I actually laughed at it because I thought it was the funniest freaking thing. Just reading the thread in Discord was hilarious.
You could just hear the panic.
I know, right?
You could just, in his text, like, you just see just like a...
So,
like I said,
like Phil said,
fortunately
we're so over it by now. We're like unfazed.
And also, fortunately, we were only
are all butt hurt, but all of us vets were like, meh, easy come, easy go, whatever.
And unfortunately, we were only 4 or 5 days into the server anyway, so it's not like people had all kinds of end game stuff, and most people probably didn't even have stuff above crafted primitive gear because you had to go venturing into the dungeons in order to get that stuff. So
and when it's a new game, this shit can happen regardless, like without a cricket.
The servers can happen. The server images can get corrupted.
You guys notice those randos never came back?
The ones that we banned.
I don't know. There was a couple good ones.
Okay.
Oh yeah, like the beast guy.
Well, that's his problem. But so Goon, what story do you have for us if you are still awake? Ding ding ding. Paging Goon, aisle 5. Alright, Goon ain't here, so he might be taking the kids to the pool, I'm not sure, but we'll just save his entry for our next PixArk episode. Sound good? Alright, here we go. Last call.
It's closing time. Pack up all those dinos and head out into the real world. It's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can stay here. I don't want to have to log right now. I don't want you to have to log right now. But it's closing time. The rated R is ready to pull the plug.
All right, this is last call. Did you have something that you forgot to mention during the show? Say it now, or wait a week. How about you, Mr. Baloo?
I would like to say thank you to Luminen for supplying us with the server away from the official shenanigans. It has been the most stress-free adventure we've all had in a while.
You're welcome.
Yay.
We're just doing the unofficial shenanigans.
Exactly. Exactly.
But we don't get mad at each other.
The crew on official, because we have some of our CRR members that were still playing on the official, and I still log over there. Like I logged over today and checked things out, and we were still good to go. But we were robbed. Dolphy's mine. He was having a lot of fun mining, and somebody shimmied down the freaking the elevator
shaft.
and dug in there and then like robbed all of the things that could not be pinned, which leads us to like shit or get off the pot. Make us be able to pin everything or not. Like, why are you half doing everything? It's just stupid. So yeah, they went in and raided everything that they wouldn't even have had the opportunity to pin. So there's really no way around it. Unless they, walled it off, and they thought they did, but they found a little crevice, they snuck in, and they robbed them. So, more non-player versus environment ridiculousness happening on PvE servers. So, and I say, hey, you can come and join us in the games we play, the podcast we record, and the Discord server we hang out in at crossrealmrebellion.com, and you can head to the show notes and find out where you can get some show and gaming group merchandise and all that jazz. There's socks and hoodies and t-shirts and coffee mugs and purses or like bags, book bags. And how about you, Mr. Luminen?
Just a shout out to our CRR members. I am going to be hosting some giveaways coming up pretty soon here. I got some pretty adequate stuff. I have a collector's edition of the Ark, the one that came out the game that's still sealed. I have one of those. I have I don't know from where or when I bought the thing, but I have an extra digital copy of the Ark base game through Steam. And I also have, for the Chronicles of Valeria, I have 2 of the starter base packages for that, which are $45 each.
Wow.
Crazy!
You have a geode that looks like a vagina?
And he also
apparently,
has a geode that looks like a vag. So
3 pieces.
3-piece vag. I don't even have one of those, so
It's a
I
flamer.
don't know where that leaves us. But
Okie dokie.
That leaves us at, it is exactly 2 a.m. You gotta go let Mossy out of the house and cook a sandwich for the dog or something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
all that stuff. So thank you, everybody. We'll be doing a little bit more PixArk if we feel like it. So have a good one. Bye.
You can reach the show by email at ratedark@gmail.com. You can tweet the show at ratedark on Twitter. You can grab our RSS feed, get our show notes, and apply to join us in-game at ratedark.podbean.com.
And there we go.
That's a wrap. No, it's a sandwich.
Hey.
That was a lot of pent up bark.
Goon's back.
I know, freaking Goon comes back like that. Dude, you gotta let us know, like in the thing, and be like, "Hey, I'm gone, guys. We didn't even know you were gone. We're talking to you." All that good stuff.
Oh, it was one of those times I didn't have time to type.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't have
You're
time to
taking the
explain.
kids to the pool.
I don't have time to explain why I don't have time to explain.
Exactly. So, hey, there we go. We knocked out 2 shows back to back. Good job, everybody.
I was doing a
Alright.
Miley Cyrus song.
What were
Breaking ball.
Came in like a breaking ball.
It won't stop. I can't stop.
Impressive.
Won't stop, can't stop the beat.
You're so crazy.
How long was that last one?
I don't know. Let's